Ladies and gentlemen, Interjection here. It's Saturday, not SmackDown, but this was one hell of a series. I was very, very pleased with the commentary, and it was a very, very entertaining series. These two players producing some excellent Age of Empires 3 Tabben vs Nuschelbar for the round of 16 of the ESOG Autumn Championships 2018. Today, casting with Maito, and it is his birthday, so please wish him well in the comments. And this went so well. Casting with Maito is an absolute joy. I just felt like it flowed the whole time. So let us know what you think, especially since it has been quite a long time. As always, timestamps are in the description below. But if you only have time for one game, as always, I do like to make that recommendation. Watch game number 3. That was an absolute corker. Haven't done this in a while, so show us some love. I'll be casting all of this weekend, and every weekend actually, at least for the rest of this tournament, so join us live on Twitch. But without further ado, enjoy the video. Alright, hello everybody, and welcome back to the ESOC Autumn Championships for 2018. This is a round of 16 game between Tabben and Nuschelbar. I'm sure I'm saying that wrong, it's absolutely not pronounced like that, but Nuschelbar has just restarted his internet router. That was why there was a bit of a delay in starting, but we are now beginning. This is game number 1. The winner of this series will progress onwards to the next round, which will be the semi-finals. The loser will be eliminated. This tournament is brought to you by eso-community.net. All user donations are appreciated and help us fund future tournaments sooner. So if that is something you'd like to contribute to, by all means do so. We also got a $25 donation come in earlier, but I didn't. The alert didn't pop up, or at least I didn't see it. So our apologies for that. Do you know who that was, Maito?
Let me see if I can check.
Okay, Maito will do that then. I suppose I ought to have a look at the hunts and the mines. I'm happy with this.
Yeah, resources look pretty good. Unfortunately, I'm not sure who donated.
Yeah,
I'm trying to find out. Unfortunately, I don't have access to the Streamlabs at this exact moment, so I can't check.
Yeah, that's the trouble. If we're signed into Streamlabs, we would be able to see. So, very generous. Thank you very much. That will, quarter of $100. That's going to go towards the next tournament. We definitely appreciate that. So, thank you very much. Let's get into this game though. In the south of the map, in the color blue, we do indeed have Tabben playing as. The score is not 2-1. Let's reset that. Playing as India. So, Tabben is a relatively unknown player. Maito was telling me earlier that he wasn't super familiar with him, and that'd be because he's not really been... Well, he's been around a while, but he's not been playing competitively all that long. So, Tabben, a new face on the scene, so to speak, and here he is finding himself 85 wood in the center of the map. Going to be pretty pleased with that. India always pleased with wood. In fact, any civ, particularly India, taking on those tigers right now, going to be picking that up. Let's take a look, though, at Nuschelbar. This guy has found a yak. Any treasures right now? No, nothing yet. He's just scouting out the periphery of his base. Going to come across 90 wood, though, so that's going to even up the treasure game and make things nice and even for him. Does find a second yak, possibly going to be keeping them quite close. Oh, going back for it now. Yep, going to grab that. So Nuschelbar, certainly quite good in Supremacy. More of a team player. Here we go. The elephant's going... He's being a bit greedy. Those yaks... being captured by the blue player here and now going to be sent back. He's going to lose them. Perhaps he just wanted to get them home, but actually, in doing so, does lose them to the blue player, who is now going to go for the 60 food here. Perhaps Tabben is realizing that the Nuschelbar is going for that wood treasure and is nowhere nearby, so is able to get this food here. What do you know about these players, Maito?
Yeah, well, as we were just saying before, I don't know a whole lot about Tabben. I know that he's improved a lot in recent months, like a lot. I mean, he beat someone I consider to actually be a very good player recently, Conqueror, the #1 treaty player in the world, who's also quite good at Supremacy. I was expecting Conqueror to do quite well this tournament, actually. Unfortunately, getting knocked out early in the tournament by Tabben, so good on him. So yeah, I'm excited to see how this series goes, just because I feel like Tabben's had a lot of success against a lot of really strong players recently, and he's been showing some pretty solid play overall. So hopefully we can get some cool games here. As for Nuschelbar, he's played a lot of team games for sure, but he's definitely no newcomer to 1v1s. I believe he came in second in the Grand Tour playoffs. So definitely a strong player himself. And yeah, I think this will be a good series.
Yeah, so let's take a look at some of the early plays here. Looks like Nushalbar is going to be going for that trading post on the far side of the map, closest to his opponent there. India has laid down an agra fort next to a coin mine, some trees I suppose, and a hunt just in the back there and one on the side as well. So securing some of that map there, and fairly middle of the map agra fort here, going to be able to supply units straight into the battlefield where they need to be. There happens to be a Nushalbar house right next to it. I imagine that's going to get sieged down. Perhaps not the prime location, but certainly going to be supplying some line of sight here. Market now just going down for Nushalbar, and Tabin adding in his trading post as well has just been completed here. So both players about to hit up. Nushalbar almost up to the next stage here, and he'll get his Travois, and we'll see that unit head on out and build the wherever it's going to be building. Going up with the slow age here, he's gone up with the wise woman, supplying some resources. A fairly defensive war hut here, and is going to be playing in his base with the market here. Hunting dogs now coming down. Blue will be aging up any second now as well, and as we mentioned earlier, does have that middle of the map agra fort, and we see the consulate going down as well. So looking to be some units coming out of that. This is, there he is, up to the next stage.
Just quickly, you need to move the donation bar again, looks like.
I've already done it.
It's on... Oh, okay, cool. Well, yeah, I guess, you know, this is... Iroquois has been one of Nushalbar's favorite civs recently. I've seen him play them a lot whenever he can in 1v1s. And this is not a matchup I believe we've seen a lot of this tournament, or in any of our previous tournaments recently. Well, I guess we haven't seen a lot of Euro in general recently. They haven't been a super popular civ since they got nerfed on ESOC patch. But
damn, this is quite a cool treasure to... Do you think that was a deliberate placement, this war hut? He's put it next to basically he can get a stable out of this, or a caravanesi, I suppose, because he certainly isn't going to be able to build a war hut since he is India. But not something you'd usually be able to get, but with the help of the agra fort has managed to do so.
Yeah, that's going to be a really nice pickup for him. And yeah, it might have been intentional.
Holy shit, that's a fucking awesome treasure.
Might have wanted to maybe put the agra fort somewhere else, and then once he saw the treasure, he decided it was worth off-putting his agra fort just a little bit to ensure that he gets that.
Ayana coming in, he sees it though, gets back there. Nicely done, sieging a bit of damage on the longhouse, now going back in. We're going to have a bit of a standoff between the Ayana and the couple of units here, providing Taben does not get any shots taken on him in a significant way. Oh, half HP, not the end of the world. Could have been better though. And taking one shot. That's quite a brutal cannonball, but it doesn't do all that much damage here. Sorry, what were you mentioning earlier, now that this seems to have slowed down a bit?
I was just going to say that Iroquois is a civ we haven't seen a lot of in recent tournaments, and but this tournament we've been seeing them a lot more. I think Garja's played them recently in a series. Nushalbar plays them a lot. Kaiser Klein likes Euro as well. So yeah, they've been kind of coming back into the meta after being gone for quite a while, and there's a batch of 4 Sowar and 3 Hussar out here.
You're right. They're being slowed down though by those elephants though, but getting into position here, and Taben may be able to take a quick win. Gonna quickly neutralize these early forces. The AN are gonna go down here. No match for all of these units, and that is quite a nice pickup indeed. This house, he can absolutely slay. Is that going to be worth it, do you think? Do you think he's going to chase down this Iroquois explorer, but do you think he kills the longhouse before moving on, or does he have the pressure, can walk straight into his opponent's base and kill the villagers?
I think you just go into your opponent's base after that. You can always come back and kill the house later.
That's true.
And you know your opponent's not going to be housed if you kill it just after you kill their units. And Nushalbar is up to Fortress Age, so not an ideal time to lose those units either. One villager does go down, dropping another war hut in the back just in case he loses the first war hut. Another villager does go down. He might lose the war hut in the back, but he will keep the one up front safe, probably.
Oh,
so not
brutal.
the end of the world for him. Not able to gather any resources right now, though. Does he have units in queue? He has forest prowlers in queue, but he doesn't have a whole lot. He doesn't have a whole lot available, or a whole lot of resources available to train. He has 4 in queue right now. They are popping. Unfortunately, he's not. Oh, okay.
Where are they going? He's going to need some defense. The Sawas heading that way. They managed to take one shot at the Sepoy. They're going to get back here. but they're going to be taken out quite quickly by these units here. Oh, musket riders have come out. That looks like the first Fortress Age shipment here. Sepoy getting up close and personal. Holy shit, they do a lot of hand damage. That musket almost dead, and these musket riders going to have to get on out of here. All of the Forest Prowlers now down. 600 coin arriving for Taben. Going to be using that to supply more units, I would imagine, from the Caravanesi and the Agrafort.
Yeah, that was a bit unfortunate for Nushabar. I think he was trying to pop his Forest Prowlers out on that side and maybe stealth them or something so they couldn't get caught. But unfortunately, the extra 10% or the extra 10 LOS you get from the Ottoman consulate going to be preventing
that's true.
Those units from sneaking away. So
those elephants also in that location as well. So it was pretty futile either way. Not a good start. Losing the early Aena, losing that first musket shipment and the Forest Prowlers as well. So quite a significant lead in terms of military population. Well, actually, only 10. Still, though, he's in the Fortress Age. He has that potential to ship some big units here. 8 Forest Prowlers, and that's going to be quite substantial versus the Indian infantry. Thankfully, though, India can build pretty much every unit in the Colonial Age anyway, but the Wonder is going down, as Maito points out, is going to be advancing to the next stage behind this, and I think this is a perfectly fine time to do it, right? He's just taken some very nice trades in his opponent's base, and can head up nice and safely.
Yeah, definitely not going to be in any danger getting that Wonder up now that he's traded off some units for some of Nushabar's units and idle time and stuff like that. He might lose this trading post, but that's not the biggest deal in the world. It's kind of already paid for most of what he'll get out of it this game. And yeah, looks like he's gonna lose the Longhouse now too. Finally able to clean that up. And yeah, Tabet is sitting in a nice position this game. I think Nushabar does still have a slight advantage in terms of tech, even once Taben reaches the Fortress Age. He's still going to have trouble contending with the big massive Forest Prowlers.
Yeah.
But he does have quite a significant advantage in terms of economy, so in spite of that tech advantage for Nushabar, we'll have to see if that ends up being...
If it ends up being
relevant for Taben. Yeah,
we'll see. Looks like he is almost up now, more than 3/4 aged. And as you said, India... well, you mentioned that the Nushalbar is going to have... The Nushalbar, yes, we'll call him the Nushalbar. He's going to have that tech advantage for a little while. India does have to research all of those upgrades individually, whereas the the Iroquois player is going to have a couple of shadow teching going on there. Forest Prowlers were able to take out that trading post here. Got a couple of Tomahawks near that trading post now, moving forward. I think they're perhaps looking for some sort of raid. No, they're going back. They're going to regroup. His opponent's just gotten up to the next stage, get all his units together, and perhaps go in there, take a few pot shots at villages that are on the front, maybe at some units if he can see them before the upgrades come in, just to cause a little bit of trouble.
Yeah, it looks like he's just going to be trying to get some damage on the side, avoid the Agrafort altogether, and hopefully do some quick damage and get out before anything happens. So, interestingly, Taben went for the Taj Mahal age up, and he's still continuing to train Sepoy and stuff like this. So we might see like an Urmi shipment and maybe a Mahout shipment too, and just continue massing the Sepoy. And he might not even try to.
There's the Urmi.
He might not even try to engage in the skirmore with these Forest Prowlers. He might just be training this big ball of units that they're really strong in close combat, and then utilize that ceasefire ability to really force his units on top of the Forest Prowlers. This could be one of those games where you just see one big fight, and either Taben smashes the fight and wins the game, or he loses the fight and we see a long one. But we'll have to see. He is continuing to train Sepoy. Discipline Sepoy is in now, so it looks like that is going to be the game plan. Probably going to be waiting for a Mahout shipment or something of that nature before he considers trying to make use of that ceasefire ability to engage. 2 Mahout shipment has arrived.
There it is.
And now we'll have to see if he chooses to go for his opponent's base or if he waits for his opponent to come to him. He probably is aware that he has the economic advantage.
Bit of a standoff in the centre of the map here. Skirmish is taking a pot shot on a hussar. That is one of the Gardner hussars from the Consulate. Forest Palace taking another cost. The cavalry on the front doing a good job of soaking here. Those Sepoy, which are vulnerable. Ceasefire is enabled, though. Unit's going to get up close and personal. Trying to get back here, so Green needs to get away. 13 seconds here. The Urumi want to get close to the Forest Prowlers. They'll do lots of damage. The Mahout the same. Also, those Sepoy are going to be quite good against the Musket Riders, and even against the Skirmishers if they're in close range. If they can't be kited, it's going to be absolutely ideal. 1 second remaining. The Urumi up close. Here we have the Mahouts. They're going to snare here. A couple of Axe Riders coming into play as well, and a Musket Rider. Looks like, though, Tabin has achieved what he needed to. Actually, Green managing to get out a little bit at the expense of some Axe Riders to snare those units in place. Though there is one Mahout and a couple of Urumi up close. Is that enough, though, to kill off to stop these Forest Prowlers? If he can kill them, the Sepoy now coming up behind. Mahout does go down. Just the Urumi to focus now. They have lots of HP, not focusing them, just attack moving. Really needs to pay attention to what he's doing here. Does he have any units in queue? 2 Musket Riders and the Corral. I'm not sure how far off they are. There's a couple of Forest Prowlers. I didn't see them. Urumi almost neutralized now. And this looks like it should be okay for Green. Once these last couple of Urumi go down, then it's just up against Sepoy, which obviously the Forest Prowlers do quite a good job against. Villagers back to work. And now Blue probably going to have to get out of here. Take down that fight. Oh, correct shot! Not quite. Does manage to kill that off. Couple of pot shots here, and then the Sepoy should be out of range. How do you feel about that fight, then? Was that a good use of ceasefire? I feel like it didn't manage to kill. He didn't manage to kill as many of the Green units as he would have liked.
Yeah, it looked good initially, but you know, like, part of the reason you want to wait to use ceasefire is because you want to use it in a situation where your opponent can only kite back so far. And unfortunately, Nushabar had plenty of space to continue running during that ceasefire, so he didn't get the optimal trade on it. And now that the smoke has cleared, Nushabar has neutralized the Mahout shipment, neutralized the Urumi shipment, and now we're just left with a big massive Sepoy against Forest Prowlers. So it's looking like the army population is in favor of Nushabar, but 3 Mahout Lancers actually coming out. And there's a big ball of Sepoy still, so we're not out of the woods yet for Nushabar by any means, but it was definitely a good trade for him.
Yeah. Let's take a look at the economic situation then going on. Fairly even militarily wise. Extra stable, is that what you were referencing?
Yeah, it looks like he's going to be going for a pretty big Soar switch or something pretty soon. And that could be big trouble for Nushabar if he doesn't end up scouting it or anything like that. Sorry, what were you saying?
I wanted to take a look at the economic unit population. It feels like they're roughly even military-wise. It looks like Nushabar is out on the map a bit more, controlling perhaps some of the area, some of the resources. We see some Kanya Horsemen coming in now for a bit of a raid here. But 55 to the blue player and 32 to green. So currently blue, Tabin here, he's looking in a good spot economically. Let's see if Nushabar can even that out a bit by killing a few villages. He's going to get a raid of 3 here. Doesn't look like much else. Yeah. Oh, it looks like just in time he manages to get away. Disciplined Sawar shipment arriving. 6 Sawar. Doesn't manage to catch them. Is Blue getting into position to head these off? Doesn't look like he's going to be able to do that there.
I think he might be waiting for another batch before he chooses to engage.
Yeah.
But on second thought, actually, looks like he is going to be walking straight into those Forest Prowlers. The military population is almost double for Tabin right now. So this could actually be a really good fight for him.
Yeah, that's
Mahouts are slowing down the Soars a little bit, but they do manage to connect with the army. Unfortunately, the Tomahawks are in a good spot to sort of tank a lot of these early hits from the Soar. But one Mahout does get down onto the back there, and unfortunately, Tomahawks are now isolated. Forest Prowlers are now isolated from the Tomahawks, and the Musket Rider count is dwindling. And this looks like it's going to be a really good fight for Tabin. Actually, there is Kanya shipment into their batch of Musket Riders coming in from the back. But Nushabar just doesn't have any units, and that's going to be the game, it looks like. And, yeah, unfortunately, looks like that's going to be all she wrote. Was it a bit laggy, maybe? Anyway, what I was going to say was... even though that first fight with ceasefire didn't go very well for Tabin, I guess it still still threw off Nushabar's macro a lot. They were fighting sort of where Nushabar would like to have been gathering. Also, just because India has a stronger economy than Eero at this stage in the game, he could kind of afford to take sort of those inefficient trades. And as long as he keeps trading units more or less evenly, he'll come out on top in the end.
All right. I'd rather not cast on my own.
Hang on a moment. Yeah, if they insist, maybe you can screen share or something like that. You can do it that way.
Oh yeah, that's true.
Also, I just wanted to point out that the donation earlier for $25 was from Warno. Thank you very much for that $25 donation. We're sorry that we missed it earlier, but it is very much appreciated.
Yeah, I hope we haven't missed any others. I don't know what's up with it, because I did set it up. It should be...
All right, and it looks like the next map is going to be Tibet. Tabin does have first pick. Let me look at my notes here and see what civs Tabin may play. Looks like neither of them have actually even played on Tibet yet, so this is the first time either player has played on this map this tournament. So not going to be able to see what they've picked before. I guess Tabin could potentially play something like China or France. Looks like those are some civs he's played a little bit. China would, of course, be a pretty good pick for him. Nushabar, on the other hand, has a little bit more diverse civ pool. Yeah, so we'll have to see. Tabin is first pick, so looks like he will be picking France. Nushabar does have the counter pick.
Oh yes, of course. Nushabar lost the previous game, so he gets the counter pick advantage. China coming down.
All right, and China is, of course, historically been a pretty good civ on Tibet.
Seems fitting.
Pardon me?
It seems fitting that China is a good civ on Tibet. All right, game number 2, the score being 1-0 to Tabin then. Let's start with him. Tabin, here he is, playing as the French, crack-shotting immediately onto the 50 wood treasure. They're going to pick that up right away. It is a coin start, so not going to be seeing a trading post, unless perhaps the native scout comes across some sort of early wood treasure. Let's take a look. Both players actually on the same side here. Where's the disciple? No, he's gone to the other side to check that out. No wood treasure just yet. 80 food there. Let's see. Oh, no, 85 wood. So this could be interesting. He might consider a trading post. It's possible. But mark it. Either way, there's lots of wood treasures. This is nice. Let's see what they go for. The scout picks up 2 yaks there. Nice and early. Green, not committing to any treasures just yet. Perhaps he's looking in the corners, perhaps for some yaks before doing so. Blue, however, also not going for the wood treasure. Perhaps he realises that green is nearby, or could be, and is not going to go for that. Speaking of green, though, here he is, Nushalbar in the north of the map. 2 yaks returning home, and village about to go up there. The goat and the yaks heading towards it, going to be going on. Have a treasure contention. Green has decided to go for the 80 food treasure. Native scout coming in to attack the Chinese explorer there. His name's Killer. Absolutely. And there is now crack-shotting the final guardian. Looks like green does go in for the pickup there. Is unable to get it. Are these 2 units going to be capable of pushing him all the way back home? What if the disciple comes back? I feel like the Chinese explorer is considerably stronger. Or is this not something he wants to stick around for? His base is quite close and he wants to get home.
Yeah, the fight would be pretty good for China, but he wouldn't really be able to kill anything, probably. Tabin would still be able to escape pretty easily with both units. So Tabin just going to be taking some free damage, and Nushabar will just be moving on to the other side of the map, going to be looking to grab some more treasures. Maybe that's 75
food treasure.
Would be
Maybe
nice for him.
He can get one hell of an age up if he gets that in, if he wants to. Another yak returning home for the green player. They're actually quite even on yaks. I've seen more return for Nushalbar, but Tabin has 4 of his own as well. The native scout paying dividends, and of course he's got 2 nearby, so that is something he can go for. Blue actually keeping more of an eye on green, looking at what he's doing, trying to contest his treasures rather than going for his own, which I like. I think this is interesting. That 85 wood close to his base, which he has seen is something he could get, but actually he wants to be out on the map. He's done quite a bit of damage to that green explorer anyway. Keep him pinned down, and here might be able to pick himself up 75 wood. The only disadvantage is that green does manage to get that again, and rightfully so, it is his. But here, might be able to finish off, or certainly do a lot more damage to that explorer. The native scout going to get out of there before. Looks like he's coming back in, though. Maybe he wants to sort of try and block him. Screw up that pathing. Lots of damage being done.
Yeah, this is actually a pretty good trade for Tabin overall. I like the decision actually to take these fights, even if the Chinese monk is potentially a little bit stronger in a lot of these fights. The way he's taking them with Nushabar being forced to take damage and those treasures first is pretty good. Looks like the monk is going to barely escape. But what this does do for Tabin is it denies a lot of scouting for Nushabar, especially in early colonial or in transition. Like, he hasn't scouted much of the map yet, right? He's only scouted those two sort of parts on his half of the map, and hasn't really done a lot of scouting on Tabin's half of the map. Meanwhile, Tabin's going to be able to scout that pretty easily with the native scout, and Nushabar is going to be probably confined to scouting his own half, and not going to want to be scouting at all in early colonial with that monk, just because of how valuable it is in those fights. He's not going to want to risk losing it to town center fire or some early hussars or anything like that. And it looks like Tabin going to be taking advantage of that lack of information that Nushabar is going to have, and going to be sending a forward villager out. We can see actually Nushabar is even just leaving his monk in base, like sort of idling him to heal him back up. So
staying idle,
he's going to have no idea about this forward base unless that disciple manages to spot it pretty soon here.
There's also a villager nearby herding, so perhaps he'll see it there. This could be really effective then, if he's herding that all the way in here. Villager is going to come, he's going to see the CDB, he's going to see this forward base, so is going to be scouted. And looks like... what do you think, though? He was putting all that pressure on. You said you liked the fact that he was keeping that Chinese monk blocked up in his base, denying the scouting information, and now taking advantage of it by building this forward base, or presumably he will do so with this villager, even though it's been scouted. But he didn't go for a trading post, which he could have done during transition, and he could, instead of fighting that monk, gone for the 85 wood that he knew was there. He certainly got the 90 wood treasure, which he scouted more recently and is going to be getting a trading post now, but could have had that up sooner and has foregone that. How do you feel about this? Stable coming down, though.
Yeah, it might slow him down a little bit, but ultimately France already has a really strong early economy, right? Like, one of the strongest in the game. And I think even if he delays picking up the 85 wood, even for a few more minutes or so, it's not really gonna change how many units he's gonna get out. He's probably still gonna be able to get out 5 hussars on his first batch pretty easily. Probably still gonna get out 4 or 5 on the second batch pretty easily with, little to no problem. And he can just pick up the 85 wood later in the game and get him an extra house, and he'll be totally fine, most likely.
Yeah. 700 wood down for Tabin, 700 coin down for Nushalbar. So presumably here Nushalbar stacking a lot of food and has a little bit of coin gathering as well. Presumably going for that fast fortress, wants to get up to the next stage nice and early. This forward stable, and Rex as well, not as forward as they could have been. He's moved them back a bit as from where that coin gatherer was. He's built these near this native trading post, native village here. He's going for both buildings, so perhaps more of a Samwise build. Now picking up that 85 wood, by the way. That's going to be quite helpful for housing and market upgrades and all of these things. I think he's gotten steel traps in already and placer mice. 3 hussars coming out, though. Not
right,
5.
I'm going to eat my words about the 5 hussars right now. But maybe the 85 would have helped a little bit. I don't know. But
yeah, but he's going up to the next stage. Nushalbar is a bit vulnerable, but is 3 hussars going to be enough to punish this?
No, it looks like all he's going to do is get some idle time, maybe force the villagers off of that wonder, so the wonder will be going up a little bit more slowly than maybe it otherwise would have. We'll have to see if Tabin chooses to do anything with that. Looks like he did just ship 700 coin.
Sentries coming out.
Tabin is actually going to be following him up to Fortress himself, despite making this forward base. No, wait. Still dumping a lot of food into units, actually, so I'm not actually sure
5
what his
musts
plan
come
is.
down, so perhaps not an age just yet. These are going to come... The thing is, though, these hussars, he's lost one to town centre fire. He did force the century pop, but that's not much cost for Nushalbar. He's not going to be upset by that. He's going to get his town centre... his wander up. He's got all the villagers on it. It's not being delayed. 5 hussars could potentially, stop those centuries from... Basically, he could have stopped those villages. The Chinese player's going to get up nice and quickly, and he's perhaps not going to be too upset by this. It looks like the Summer Palace just produced a couple of units here, trying to get them away. Should be no match for these hussars. It looks like where he's going to head straight away. Musketeers, though, going down. It looks like that's what the town centre is focusing.
Yeah, so it looks like Tabin just wanted to train extra units to get good trade while Nushalbar is aging. He's going to be able to clean up these Summer Palace units, clean up the Minutemen, the Explorer, get the 90 XP from that, and still deny a lot of gathering. Meanwhile, looks like he's shipped 600 coin after the 700 coin. He's going to be continuing up to the Fortress Age himself. So he will be sitting in a pretty good position, actually, after the smoke clears. There is also no trading post for Nushabar, which I think maybe he would have liked to drop with this 700 wood or something like that. So he won't have a whole lot of shipments coming in Fortress here, actually. He does have a shipment coming now, most likely maybe the 5 meteor hammers or something like that. And then after that, he'll have another shipment coming shortly, and then his shipment span will be a little bit slower afterwards. So Tabin's probably going to be getting up to Fortress relatively safely, and once he's there, he's looking to be in a pretty good spot, actually.
Yeah, you're pleased with that? I feel like he didn't really do a lot of damage here, and China's going to be able to get that death ball rolling, those shipments coming out. China's going to be pretty pleased with himself too.
Well, he did slow down the age up a little bit. The slower age up is less time that Porcelain Tower will be gathering. Did get a lot of idle time on those villagers as well. Did manage to clean up, the Minutemen and the Summer Palace. So it's not that bad.
Okay.
He lost a lot of units, but for the cost of those units, it was probably more or less an even trade. But actually, Tabin hasn't sent his CDB shipment, and looks like he might not even be intending to. I guess now that he's in the Fortress Age, so his economy is not going to be as good as it could be.
Yeah, it's quite a valuable shipment to forego. What do you make of this? He's stacking a ton of food, and he's up to the Fortress Age. Is there a fast industrial on the cards here? Look, normally you'd be spending that food, you'd be queuing it, and he's got the military buildings to be doing it. It's not unintentional. He's not pop-capped either. He is deliberately stacking resources, Moto.
Yeah, it definitely could be. Looks like Hussars are going to cut. They do spot a villager on the gold mine there. Maybe he'll return to try and kill that at a later point in the game. No, not going to get caught. It's going to go for the village right now. Looks like he will probably get it, actually.
A little bit of a risky play there. The Meteor Hammer's still quite close by. Is actually going to lose both of these. And that villager now what's it called? It is called a villager for China. He's going to put down a village, a nice spot drop-off point.
But yeah, it looks like you're right. 1,000 coin coming in for France now. He's going to be going up to industrial, and this is pretty risky. I don't know what he has in his deck. Do you want to take a look?
Yeah, let's take a look in his deck. What has he prepared for the industrial age? Nothing in particular. He's got that sort of standard deck, really. There is 2 heavy cannons. Often that might be left out for an extra Fortress Age card. But aside from that, 2 factories, as you'd expect. This is not a super fast industrial deck, but there is enough shipments to keep him going there, and of course the upgrades that become available. Actually, that's a fair point though. It's not like he's got the economy to be getting those upgrades, Moto. So what's the value here other than those 3 powerful shipments?
Yeah, I'm not sure. He might be aging with 2 Falcons at least, so he'll be getting at least some cannons out. But what use are these cannons going to be? He doesn't have any units to defend them. The only shipment he has available in the industrial age is 2 heavy cannons, and meanwhile China's just massing cavalry. I don't know that he is going to get anything out of this age up now. 10 Arquebusiers coming out for China. Is going to be cleaning up the Ford base. It looks like some goons did pop and will be getting away, but other than that, Tabin's going to have to be investing a lot of wood into rebuilding those military buildings.
Yeah.
And once he's up to industrial here, he's going to be sending heavy cannons, but what good is it going to do him? I'm not really seeing the game plan here, actually.
Well, he can kill off some goons here. Unfortunately, the Arquebusier notice. They turn around, trying to delay the sieging of these 2 buildings, buy himself a bit of time. Perhaps he can get out, as you say, with those 2 falconets. Those 2 heavy cannons will arrive. There is another stable going down here, so I think the cavalry unit is his... going up with musketeers. So this feeds into my point as well. He's getting anti-cavalry. He's getting that stable up to make sure he can build goons. He's aged up with anti-cavalry musketeers here, and he's going to protect the 2 heavy cannons that arrive. And providing he can do so, Arquebusier, they only have 126 HP, which I suppose is fairly reasonable for a skirmisher anyway. But that will be no match for poor villager, Rip Fred. And these cannons should do plenty of damage to the infantry here. So perhaps that's the game plan, that heavy cannons can win it off the back. However, you think staying in Fortress Age and playing a traditional style might have been certainly safer and more effective?
Yeah, maybe if he had some more diversity in the shipments available to him, industrial, he could have been in a good spot. But yeah, he has a few units to defend the cannons now, but even... Alright, looks like Nushabar isn't going to be too keen to take that fight, but He's still not going to have a super large, massive units to sort of defend these cannons as the game goes on. And, the Chinese cavalry, those meteor hammers, they have a pretty nice bonus against artillery. They attack from range despite being melee units as well, so they can still pretty easily get onto those cannons as long as the massive units remains relatively small.
That last rack's going to go down.
It looks like the rack's going to go down. But Nushabar looks like he's content to just sort of bide his time. Maybe he's checked the deck, realized there's not a whole lot available to Tabin. Like, he's chipped heavy cannons, and that's pretty much all he's got,
that's
right?
All the threat,
he's going to want to be sending factories now if he really wants to take advantage of that industrial Asia. But the factories aren't going to do anything for you right away, right? You're going to be sending... Sure, it's like 8 to 10 villagers, but...
Yeah, they still need to pay off.
It's still going to take a long time to pay off, especially after you've lost those military buildings and you've invested all those resources into aging. So yeah, Nushabar is looking to be in a pretty good spot here. Heavy cannons are maybe going to get a good shot off on these arquebusiers.
Oh, baby! What a shot. Okay, that was pretty nice. Thing is, they're a bit out of... They're a bit vulnerable now, and the cavalry are off to the side there. Did manage to take out a lot of arquebusiers, and a few more shots like that, and is going to put him where he needs to be. Lots of goons now, musketeers and minutemen, plenty of anti-cavalry to be defending these, so he absolutely needs to make sure these cannons can perform to their full effectiveness. He cannot be losing them. This is pretty much where his game plan is. One factory does arrive, and this is going to even out the recalculated economic unit population, which we see is about 10, actually 13 villages ahead in Nushalbar's favour. Blue army advancing now, moving on up to the opponent base. We see the villagers all out in the front here, so perhaps he can deny some of that here. Green about to see blue. He's about to appear on the map. Green, though, is out down the bottom where there are no military units here, and the factory has just gone up, so actually completely undefended here. Blue's going to have to go back. He sees that. Cannons repacked. Goons heading that way. The infantry as well. He sees Nushalbar is all completely in the south here. Thankfully, factory is not under siege just yet. Perhaps that's what Nushalbar's looking for. Also, villagers, they're being moved off the coin mine here, and there's a few on the food here. Perhaps they're going to try and move away as well, though they might be spotted by these redcoats, which are sort of cleaning up the map, scouting out that coin mine. The goons trying to get into position, going one way. Perhaps the musks will go the other. Doesn't look like it. Yes, actually, he is going to do that.
And it looks like Nushabar is doing a really good job of abusing the weakness in this game plan from Tabin. Like, he's so committed to getting value out of these heavy cannons that he's completely sacrificed any mobility he might have. And so Nushabar is just splitting up these units. He's got redcoats on the sides using the TP. Cavalry's just sticking around at the base. I even saw earlier while he was running around, he split off one iron flail from his cavalry mass just to do some spotting for the enemy army so he could react appropriately. And getting up second TC, and going to be sitting in a pretty good spot.
Yeah, it looks like the eco's pretty even now, but that is a result of the factory here. Second one should be, he's got the shipment ready. Tabin, oh no, he hasn't. Oh, there it is. Yes, he sent it now. So that's actually going to put him ahead economically. But they are quite vulnerable, and you mentioned the mobility thing. Certainly these cannons are strong. They're quite effective, as providing Nushabar can avoid them and can maintain enough pressure on the side of his base and keep coming in and out like he's doing with these arquebusiers, going to take out a villager here, then he'll never actually have to fight them, but the cannons won't be able to go anywhere. They'll just be stuck trying to... Basically, he has no mobility, as you said. He can't get to his opponent, and if he does, he leaves the factories undefended.
Yeah, but having said that, now that both factories are up, he does have an economic advantage now. He doesn't really have to worry about natural resources as much with those factories. And, Nushabar is doing a good job of abusing the immobility, but his military advantage is slowly dwindling, right? And he's invested so much in this cavalry that he's not going to be able to take this fight if he waits too much longer, and it looks like maybe he's realized that he needs to fight now before the factories start paying off.
Oh my, the Changdao taking damage. One cannon down, though. Both cannons down. Does manage to take out a good number of infantry there, but I don't think it's going to be enough. These units here, quite a lot of Chinese units. The Changdao, although a lot of them gone down, they are up close and personal with the Dragoons, which really don't want to be doing that, trying to get out of the way here. Does manage to get back off. One pot shot at that cavalry unit there, and it looks like the green Nushalbar is firmly ahead with regards to the military unit population. I hope there is a factory about to pop Looks like he's researching mass production at the factories, though, so certainly is going to be training more heavy cannons from them, but they might be a way off, because I checked them earlier, and they were making gold, so they haven't long been on artillery. So a couple of villages on the front here going to go down, these 2 houses going to go down. I wonder if, though, he can buy enough time with these dragoons to get those cannons out, and I think once those come out, he'll be back in a reasonable position, because China, not the best way. How does China deal with these artillery units if he produces more? Certainly, he's got the mortars, but is he going to be building them? Are they worth building?
Doesn't look like he's going to be building them. In general, they're not super worth building unless you want to do some slow pushing or you're fighting against water or something like that. But he doesn't really need them, maybe. He's still got a fair bit of cavalry. He could still continue trading cavalry, which will do very well against the cannons. There is a lot of goons coming out now, though.
Yeah.
I don't know how close the units are to being completed. Sorry, the heavy cannons are to being completed, but if they pop out, it could be hard to hold.
I reckon we got another 35, 40 seconds.
Hang on.
It's hard to know. Are you... villagers are fighting here, though. He's using them to soak a bit. However, there's no units firing in the back. This cover is going to waste. Green units not going to push forward anymore. Perhaps he realises there might be some sort of heavy cannon pop and doesn't want to hang around. Or maybe he wants to head on over here and contest this food and try and force Tabin off as many resources as he can. Few redcoats coming in on the side here versus this coin mine. And on the top here, a bit of a pincer. Going to force these blue. 2 heavy cannons have arrived, though. Let's hope they don't get absolutely shat on by meteor hammers. Can we get a nice volley off on these arquebusiers? Yeah, yes, we can. That's 6 units going down immediately. CDB's coming in to defend here, trying to just block any units from getting anywhere near them. The only way the meteor hammers can deal damage is at range. They do, though, have a bit of range. Well, I say range. It's melee combat. But they do have a bit of range here. Musketeers trying to go into hand combat, but I think that's enough to bring it down. Actually, heavy cannons surprise me every time. They have so many hit points. I think this one should be fine. No, maybe not. Oh, that's unfortunate. I wonder if the opportunity cost of the resources that he could have been getting at the factory was worth those 2 cannons. Though he does need them, obviously, to just take on this army, so absolutely the right unit. Sadly, did not get as much value out of them as he might have wanted. Nushelbar should be fine, Maito, do you think, if Tabin is unable... If Tabin is able to stack up lots of artillery units, if he gets multiple cannons, if he has, you know, not just 2, 4 or 5 or 6 of them, that's when it gets really quite scary. But Nushelbar doing a good job of not allowing that to happen, and here actually contesting the factories.
Yeah, Nushelbar is going to be taking good advantage here after that fight. Looks like the one factory might go down. I'm not sure how long it takes to train heavy artillery, actually, with the factories, especially after completing mass production. But I feel like he's still probably a ways off of a few...
Oh, just in time! Wow, that is absolutely clutch. Can he keep this factory alive, or is he gonna? Are they gonna commit to killing it? It's still alive here. The unit's trying to get onto the cannons, but they're gonna have to walk all the way around these buildings here. Enough dragoons and some musketeers, and yes, a couple of skirmishes. Oh, another volley on this. They're sieging the house, but they are still slightly in range. Perhaps not ideal. Yes, getting those arquebusiers away. So, what a clutch save! These factories are still in play. Hasn't managed to take them out, and a couple more cannons have arrived, though. The trouble is, green is... villagers here not doing so well. They're going to have to fight these redcoats. But basically, Nushelbar is able to field quite a lot of meteor hammers, and currently there's not a lot of defense. Yeah, there's a ton of cavalry coming this way, so even though he managed to hang on, look, nothing to defend them here. Run, cannons! They're not going anywhere! I think this could spell GG right here.
Yeah, only 4 dragoons coming in, and it's going to be a little bit late. No, wait, Nushelbar not paying attention. Okay, still going to get onto the heavy cannons. Going to be cleaning those up, and yeah, it's going to be very hard once that last heavy cannon goes down, and Tabin is going to call GG, so...
Going to tap out right there. A valiant effort.
That was a pretty exciting game, though, actually. Those 2 heavy cannons popping out at the end were really clutch, for sure, but unfortunately just not gathering any resources and forced to fight with all those CDB.
Oh, that's true. They recalculated...
Just to survive, so...
Yeah, the recalculated economic unit population was those factories weren't making resources, they're making cannons, which you could see as economy, but all of that time, it was just the villagers which were being harassed left, right, and centre. Just wasn't able to produce any land units, which he desperately needed to defend the cannons with for them to be effective.
Either way, though, interesting game plan for sure. I was not expecting the FI, especially without a bill shipment or anything like that. So it could have worked out maybe if he had a couple of other shipments to go along with it. Like we saw after the heavy cannons, he was forced to ship things like 8 dragoons and 8 skirmishers, 5 dragoons and 8 skirmishers instead of maybe something like 14 skirms and 8 goons or something like that. So unfortunately, his deck wasn't quite tailored to the build he wanted to go for, but...
No. What do you think he needed? Having played cards, my scenario, I know France has a few reasonable industrial age shipments. Should we take a look and see what could have been in his deck for that strategy? So he could have had 14 skirmishers, he could have had 8 dragoons.
6 cuirassiers would have been really nice too.
Yeah, that's one hell of a power shipment. 6 cures. 4 culverins.
But yeah, no, unfortunately, just his whole game plan hinged on that heavy cannon shipment, and once he lost those 2 heavy cannons, it was going to be really hard to get back into the game. Maybe if he'd managed to keep those 2 heavy cannons alive early on until he'd had a massive 4 heavy cannons or something like that, it would have been much more difficult for Nushilbar to take a fight.
Yeah.
But yeah, Nushilbar did a good job too of punishing the immobility and stuff like that, and just not engaging until he had just the right surround with the meteor hammers coming in from the back as well to pick up the heavy cannons, and yeah, managed to pick up the win.
Hot damn! All right then. The next map will be Gran Chaco. We've played on Manchuria and Tibet. Game number 3 will be on Gran Chaco. The score is 1-1. Tabin takes the first game. Nushilbar takes the second. Let's see who pulls ahead here in game number 3.
Looks like Nushilbar is going to be locking in Dutch. That's a map we've seen, or a civ we've seen a lot of on Gran Chaco. I've also seen a lot of India on Gran Chaco, but unfortunately Tabin does not have India available to play on Gran Chaco if he likes, or if he would like to.
And that's relevant because it's a non-TP civ, right? So we need civs here that are effective without trading posts. Dutch being one of them, and you're saying Tabin has to respond now, and he'd like India but doesn't have it.
Yeah, it would probably be a civ he's pretty comfortable playing. What else does he play? I think he plays a little bit of Russia. Is a civ he could potentially pick here.
Dutch Mirror.
Which, okay, Dutch Mirror is also an option.
Alright then. It's a very colourful flag. They should have kept it like that. It would have made it more different from the French flag. And I know the bars go different ways, but, sometimes you forget. Not if you're from those countries, it's probably quite obvious. Alright then, loading in. This is game number 3. The score is 1-1. Tabin is playing Dutch. Nushilbar is playing Dutch on ESOC Gran Chaco. Pardon me, let me clear my throat. Saving EP recorded game. So this is a trading post map. Sorry, a map with no trading posts. There are 2 native villages, which happen to be...
Sorry, before we get too far into the game, looks like Tabin's gold mines are pretty bad.
Okay.
Comparatively to Nushilbar, he's got sort of 2 mines on his 3 mines on his half of the map, sort of, to Nushilbar's 4-ish.
We'll see.
Hunts look more or less fine, at least.
It's okay.
All right, it's okay. All right, perfect. Yes. They look terrible, but they're definitely not. They're definitely not even. Anyway.
So he's happy to continue on. I didn't catch what sort of crate start that was, but look. Pardon me. Looks like he has managed to get a market down nice and early, so he's probably pleased with that position. What treasures did he find there? Was it something... 120 coin. Was that perhaps the reason he wanted to stay and continue playing, despite that information that we gave him there?
Who actually picked up the 120 coin? I thought it said Nushilbar, did it?
Yeah, Nushilbar picked up the coin. Oh,
right.
right. Yeah, so that's not Tabin. Pardon me.
Yeah. Gonna be... helping out Nushilbar quite a bit. I think Tabin maybe is just thinking the gold mines aren't going to be a super big deal. He is playing Dutch. Gold mines do last a relatively long time when you have buildings that are producing gold for you for free. So probably not going to be super relevant, at least in the early portions of the game. Maybe he can get an advantage before it really becomes an issue. Back in Nushabar's base, he actually went for a market, which is pretty non-standard, I would say, for Dutch. But he did pick up the 120 coins, so he was able to maybe buy 100 wood pretty easily, and that's going to give him an early hunting dogs, which will be a pretty nice advantage moving into the transition to colonial and everything.
Yeah, hunting dogs is definitely in there, the early market. It makes me wonder if it was in specifically that treasure that enabled him or made him want to go for that particular upgrade. Could possibly have been. Tabin, on the other hand, doesn't have that advantage, though he does have an absolute ton of llamas, which, by the looks of it, Nushalbar only has 2 in base.
And it looks like he's going to be eating a couple of those llamas, too, to get up a 14 villager age up. So he'll be aging at least 1 vill earlier than Nushalbar. And he might be able to get something done with that.
Yeah, give him a bit of temple.
Tabin's been playing pretty aggressively all series long, and whenever I've watched him play, he tends to be a very aggressive player. So I wonder if he'll do some sort of cheesy build or something like that. Maybe we'll see like an early bank wagon as opposed to sort of the standard Dutch build where you send like 700 wood and you grab your 3 or 4 banks very early. Maybe we'll see it like a slightly less bank heavy build from him. He'll try to just get an advantage with military units once again, as we've seen him be doing in all these games.
Yeah.
So I'm excited to see what he chooses to go for. But,
yeah, I'm think this is quite interesting then. Earlier age up, has plenty of these llamas still, which could fuel something of the earlier age up, and you're saying is a fairly aggressive player and certainly primed this game to be able to do something like that. By the looks of it, Nushalbar picking up 30 wood in base, has now got his age up in queue behind Tabin and is collecting wood for those banks, as you described. Want to get a couple of banks out, 2 or 3, nice and early on. So let's see if, I mean, certainly Nushalbar will notice when Tabin ages up sooner. That is certainly information he'll have publicly availably made to him. But this reconnaissance unit in the back here, the envoy coming in, perhaps he'll notice something aggressive. He needs to sort of go out on the map. We don't see any early forward vills or anything like that. Is that sort of what you were thinking, or some other kind of aggression?
No, well, it looks like he's still going to be dropping the early bank and everything, so...
Okay, just a bit more tempo being up sooner, perhaps.
Mm-hmm. And he's dropped a lot of vills under that gold mine now, despite already having enough gold to queue villagers, so I wonder if he's going to be sending like the bank wagon shipment early, and dropping a military building with that 400 wood instead of he's putting more vills on gold now, so he could actually be dropping a military building with that 400 wood instead of dropping another bank. He does not have the food for another bank, so he could be dropping like an early stable or something like that, and then abusing the fact that Nushabar, stable going down now. Nushabar is going to be building a lot of banks really early. I know Nushabar likes to do sort of like his 5 bank naked FF sort of thing. And so he's not going to have any military units to deal with any raiding Hussar or anything like that for quite a while. And that might be what Tabin's hoping to get out of this early age up. Envoy has not quite spotted the stable yet. It looks like just barely out of line of sight maybe. And will be scared away by the Explorer. So I'm not 100% sure if he actually saw it. It might have been just barely in line of sight.
Yeah.
We'll have to see if he chooses to drop a stable with that 700 wood.
Often
Go on.
I was going to say, often the Treasure Guardians can sometimes do some weird stuff and supply line of sight, so maybe he's seen it. It's possible. Mm-hmm. But nonetheless, let's take a look at the units in queue. 1 Hussar, in fact 3 Hussars laying down immediately. Going to be running them over to his opponent's base, cause some trouble, do some raiding, and perhaps punish the fact that, yes, we see... oh no, that's a house jammed in there as well. So 3 banks immediately gone down, and we've got a stable going up in the back. So, but actually, I think, yes, he has seen, or at least he's going to be building a stable nonetheless, and he's got his cavalry in queue. So by the time these get over here, Green should be popping some units of his own and should be able to defend nicely there. Looks like Bank Wagon comes out for him, and he's built this nice ring around his base here. So some early pressure could be a little bit difficult because the villagers are nicely snug in this sort of area here, and making any cavalry that go in there possibly going to be trapped by Minutemen and cavalry of Green.
Definitely going to be difficult for Tabin to get any meaningful damage done with these Hussars with that building wall. Bank count is 4-2 now for Nushabar, so he is up 2 banks. not going to be losing any villagers. 5 Hussar do pop out to now force these Hussars back. And, Tabin's going to be pretty far behind on the bank count. And for, like a few seconds of idle time is basically the trade-off he made for that. And I think Dushabar is going to be pretty happy about that.
It does look like he's going to pick up this Explorer as well. And does not save Kevin. Rip Kevin. Can we get some Rip Kevins in the chat, please?
We've been pretty good about naming our units today.
You've got it. You have to build a connection here.
I am Dutch. I am Dutch has died.
Rip, I am Dutch. Doesn't want to get involved there. Doesn't have an explorer of his own, and Nushalbar's scout is there as well. All those hussars full HP, and of course the blue one's taking a little bit of damage from the town centre fire. So just going to play it safe. Doesn't want to commit to a fight right there. And the cavalry is better alive. You can use them to raid and surprise your opponent and kill villagers and that kind of thing. So no need to engage unless he wanted to prevent his opponent from doing the same thing. If he knew his opponent didn't have any units, that is possibly something here. Looks like Green positioning himself to take a jade-encrusted jaguar skull worth 120 coin. Kills those guardians nice and quickly, and Green are going to go in there, grab himself the coin there. Looks like both players are positioning themselves to age up. Nushalbar has almost all of those resources available and has sent some wood as well, as does Tabin has sent the wood. He's going to be able to get an extra bank down out of that, and of course those military buildings which he'll need to build during transition. We'll see how that goes. But yes, as you mentioned, if we take a look at economic units here, 3 banks to 4.
Yeah, and I imagine Nushalbar is going to be dropping that 5th bank down pretty soon as well. He just started clicking up to the Fortress Age. We'll probably drop that bank during transition. Meanwhile, Tabin, he's going to click up, only going to have 3 banks in transition. Going to need to gather quite a bit more resources to sort of match that 5 banks. And yeah, Nushalbar, I guess, seeing the early economic advantage that he had, he knew that Tabin went for that bank wagon build, kind of went for the aggressive play, and it didn't really work out for him. He knows he's ahead. He knows he has the time to drop those 2 forward Raxes. He's going to be applying a lot of pressure in early Fortress here with that advantage that he's going to have with the extra resources that he can dump into skirmishers. So this is going to be really good for him, I think.
Yeah, Tabin almost up to the next stage as well. But yes, as you say, Nushalbar is a little bit ahead. He's got these units, these buildings in the mid-map, going to supply units straight into his opponent's base there, and has a little bit of time on for those Fortress Age shipments, which will be coming thick and fast. Looks like Tabin, 2 stables, and has been building hussars in transition. So yeah, and getting, by the looks of it, veteran hussars here. So is that something that Green will not expect? Potentially, he's not seen those cavalry yet, so maybe this could be something up his sleeve to deal with early skirmishes, perhaps. 500 wood coming from Nushalbar. No, it's 1,000 wood.
That's part of his 1,000 wood.
What's wrong with the UI?
It's
not shit. I understand. Yep.
Yeah, the quantity of 500 wood crates is 2. So there you go. Yeah, it's definitely a good adaptation from Tabin, actually, I think, knowing that he's behind a little bit in age-up. And I don't know if he saw the forward Raxes. It looks like he probably did. His Explorer is dead near those Raxes.
I like how those hussars aren't getting involved here. He's trying to keep them a secret here. Can he engage these units and these cavalry and overwhelm them? They can't escape now. He's managed to snare them. He's given them a false sense of security, and those 3 hussars are going to be engaged, approaching the skirmishers. There are Reuters here. They're going to be able to fend off the cavalry. Unfortunately for Blue, he's got most of his cavalry in the back there, and these few in the front aren't going to be able to do that much damage. However, they are snaring the skirms. They're not going to be able to escape that quickly. The cavalry in the back now finished killing whatever they were killing, able to get up close and personal. The skirms doing damage here. He might be able to catch all these skirms. They are veteran hussars. He might be able to take all of these down and get himself a nice advantage, reinforcing skirmishers entering the fray. And I think that might be enough Reuters to clean this up, and actually he should get away not too badly scathed. Although the skirmishers doing lots of damage to the Reuters there, picking them all off. Only 2 left. More hussars joining this battle. And actually, if there are no reinforcing Reuters, which it doesn't look like there are, certainly no spawn points either, no shipments are going to be arriving, these skirmishers could all be taken out. And Tabin securing himself a surprisingly early cavalry victory over the skirmishers. Actually, a few Reuters here, but maybe not worth. Yeah, he's just going to come in, do a bit of damage whilst the skirmishers are still alive, stay at range, and then I imagine try and get out of here. He doesn't want to commit those Reuters to death. But Tabin, what a play.
Yeah, that was such a good adaptation to go for that double stable Hussar transition. Knowing that that Nushabar invested in these two Raxes and would be applying a lot of skirmisher pressure early on Fortress, and that he was later up to Fortress and not going to be able to deal with it as effectively, manages to secure a really good trade out of that, and that's just a result of Nushabar maybe underestimating Tabin's ability to make units, and maybe didn't do enough scouting to see what he was making either. So that's going to be really good for him. Dropping down an artillery foundry for Nushabar, which is interesting because I don't even know if Tabin has Raxes yet.
Queuing falconets
are really going to be able to do against a cavalry heavy composition.
Yeah, that's unusual. I wonder what he's got in mind.
I think
perhaps it's just a case that he can't gather food very easily, and he anticipates having lots of coin. He's certainly got a ton of banks. Maybe he just needs a way to spend it. Culverins are of no use to him at all, so falconets are the only viable unit that he can be making with all this extra coin. Perhaps that's one explanation, taking a pot shot at that explorer there. But look at this blue army. It's so big now.
Mm-hmm. I think perhaps maybe what he's expecting is Tabin will start transitioning into skirmishers at some point now, and now that he's lost his Raxes, he's not going to be able to keep up in the skirmisher count if Tabin has more skirmishers coming. And because he's got all this cavalry, he can just continue investing in Reuters and then use the falconets to sort of negate the skirmisher advantage Tabin would have. But unfortunately, he's doing this blind. He doesn't know for sure that Tabin's got a Rax down or anything like that. And in fact, Tabin's not investing in any infantry at all.
Tabin's just going full cavalry. He's just slamming hussars on the battlefield. So you think Nushabar preemptively making falconets against the against the skirmisher mass, but that not being the case. We just see lots of cavalry coming out from blue, and this is really quite unfortunate for him.
Yeah, I think he was trying to do sort of the same thing Tabin did, where he knows he's at a disadvantage and try to make up for it by making those cannons. But unfortunately for him, we're not going to see any skirmishers coming out from Tabin aside from the 8 and 7 from the shipments. And he does have a decent mass of Reuters and will probably continue to train Reuters. But those falconets are not going to be super useful this game aside from dealing with those 2 skirmisher shipments.
Yeah, here we go. Nice volley, though. Is able to take out a few skirmishers there. Good damage on them, but look at all of the cavalry in the back. They're just going to be laughing if they can get into position. A few halbs as well. I suppose, actually, that's not a bad choice versus all of this cavalry, especially when you've got an artillery mass. The best thing to protect artillery with is that hand infantry that cavalry really don't want to be getting close to. You know, cavalry often quite happy to get up closer to a dragoon because they do good damage to them once they're in range. The trouble is, dragoons are very strong at range. They're not all that good at protecting cannons in the same way that a halb can when they get up close, and almost managed to volley onto them. Just going to pile in there. Needs to kill off. Do you think he needs to bother killing those cannons as he's really trying to focus them down? But is that super necessary? They're not going to be doing all that much damage.
I don't think he really needs to, but what he is doing is he's forcing Nushabar's units into melee because Nushabar does not want to lose those falconets. So he does manage to get into melee with all the Reuters, does manage to clean up the falcons, and even though he's not making infantry here, he is still able to make use of the fact that Nushabar would not like to lose 1,500 resources worth of units for free.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, he's managed to he's evened it up. Those halbs did such work.
And you know, this is part of the disadvantage of going for Reuter Huss is, because your opponent can just make pure anti-cav, and then you're in big trouble. So the fact that Nushabar has just been continuously making Reuters and halbs, and you know, he kind of stopped skirmisher production, means that he's actually in a pretty good spot here. 4 hussars coming up from the cabin, not going to be super useful probably against this group of units as well. And I don't think he has a Rax down yet either, so no infantry going to be coming anytime soon, but the Reuter is actually getting caught by the Hussars.
Yeah, that's unfortunate. And that one halb, the halb's being run around, they're not really able to do very much here. A few more Reuters joining the fray, maybe he can break away and get off these Huss here, but is it that good? I mean, the Hussars, sure, they can snare and they do reasonable damage, but they do get taken out quite quickly by Reuters here.
No, yeah, it's still a good trade for Nushabar overall, I think. But if Tabin does get a good trade, if he gets a trade that's even slightly inefficient but leaves him with a military advantage, he could potentially go for some of these exposed villagers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, not going to be getting enough of the trade as he would like to be able to contest sort of those resources. But it was a good try. he does still sort of have the tempo. Like, Nushabar can't really push towards his base and do any meaningful damage or anything right now, so he does still have time to set up Raxes or continue training Reuters or something like that if he would like to. I don't think he has Raxes down yet, though. Wait, did he just ship infantry combat?
Cavalry combat.
Yes, cavalry combat for both players?
For green and blue, yes.
Okay, sorry, that looks a little bit like infantry combat. The resolution is a little bit lower on Discord, but... yeah, I don't know.
This has turned out to... Oh, what? The flank coming in. Reuters on one side, Hussars on the other. Going to pile onto these Reuters here, get into hand combat and do lots of damage. Even better if they're on the skirms there. And he has a bigger Reuter mass. He's able to snare them in place and do lots of damage. This is really nice for Tabin. Just on top of this whole game. The scores are fairly even though, so by no means out, but a really nice play from Tabin. Really showing how he's been improving as a player over these past 9 months or so that he's been active.
Yeah, this is exactly what I mean. If he takes a trade, like this trade was actually probably pretty good for him, but now that he has a military advantage, he can just push towards those resources.
And forcing these villagers away.
Yeah, all of these villagers that were walking up towards the hunt and the gold mine on the right side of the map are forced to walk back to the base. And it looks like Tabin actually maybe hasn't identified where all of those villagers are, but regardless of whether he knows where they are, just the threat of being able to apply pressure to those areas has forced Nushabar to sort of walk back to his base. And it looks like Tabin could still get a good raid down on this gold mine on the bottom, and force the idle time of Vills on the right side. And after that, like, Nushabar's Vills don't have anywhere to go if he can't secure these resources on the left.
He's noticed this, though, so able to get them out of here, but that's not very many Reuters. They are coming in here just to take the pressure away from the villagers, but not too many, not enough to really push them back. Thankfully, though, does have some skirmishes, which the blue Reuters will have to respect and get away from. Is idly sieging this house, does lose a few Reuters unnecessarily there, sadly for him, but a nice positioning, forcing those Vills off. Your phone is vibrating, I wonder what that's all about. Village is now able to come back onto the coin mine here, and he's restored his ability to gather resources. I think just having skirmishers mixed in here makes it quite difficult for these Reuters to continue pressuring that location. However, Tabin does have a big cavalry mass there as well, so just turns out Hussar Reuter is probably quite effective against skirmisher Reuter. Well, actually, how do you feel about that? I'm not sure.
It depends a little bit on the number of Reuters, but it's been working out so far for Tabin. I mean, he's had a couple of fights that didn't go super well for him, but he's kept up enough pressure that Nushabar hasn't been able to get, hasn't been able to get enough of a mass really to sort of completely deny Tabin from fighting or contesting resources or anything like that. And he does actually have a Rax up now, finally, so we could actually see skirmishers coming out from Tabin reasonably soon. And looks like there might be a raid on the left side from Nushabar. Yeah, going to be picking off one villager. Unfortunately, there is an outpost there to deny those Reuters any raiding on that gold mine.
Going into this late portion of the game, Tabin's been quite diligent with his outposts. Often people neglect them because they're just so expensive. But he's got half an outpost up here as well. Where did that villager go? Wait, maybe it died. No, it was hidden behind it, so it was still there. So yeah, it's a couple of outposts going up though. More importantly, Halb's popping out right in the right spot. Oh my goodness, they're able to attack straight away onto those cavalry. Sadly though, there were so many ranged units, they're just going to dwindle away and be killed. A few more walking around. That's the trouble with these big hand infantry units. They're just slow and clumsy, and they're hard to get into a good spot where they can actually do damage, but making them nonetheless, since Tabin has just got so many cavalry. In fact, that's his entire army composition.
Mm-hmm. And just going on about the point about the outposts, and one of the great things about these outposts that Tabin is putting up is that he's got this really heavy cavalry composition, so he has a lot of mobility and can apply a lot of pressure. And one of the answers to a lot of like heavy raiding pressure like this is just to push your opponent's base or your opponent's resources with all of your units, but and to force Tabin to retreat. But because of those outposts, it's going to buy Tabin a lot of time to either retreat and defend those villagers, or I guess as he's doing now, just push the base before Nushabar can actually kill off that outpost and kill the villagers inside.
There's 10 villagers in there, so it's quite a lot to lose, but let's see if he can even that up.
I wonder if this is a good decision, though, from Tabin. He's going to get some units for free, looks like, inside the the base, but he's not going to be able to get any villagers, it looks like.
Yeah.
And he's going to lose a lot of villagers himself for that.
There's a number of villagers to the south here. He hasn't seen them, though, by the looks of it. He's looking. That's the trouble. I think maybe he thought he couldn't get over there. He wouldn't be able to... Hold on a moment. These villagers weren't killed.
He managed to sneak away. It looks like Nushabar was a little bit too afraid of what might happen if those Hussars kept going. If those Hussars kept going. So he's a little bit afraid and decided to pull off those Reuters and just leave the Halbs there to siege. So it is going to force the villagers to run home, but not going to be killing any of them.
Yeah.
And
this is quite good.
Yeah, this is a pretty good game, but those Swiss pikes could actually be really deadly here.
Look at that line.
They are coming to the middle of the map here, single file.
Yes, lining up. Let's get in there, boys. Let's go. Some very powerful hand infantry of his own here. So units trying to get in. Looks like Halbs versus the Swiss Pike. I wonder what's stronger. I think the Halbs are much better because they have higher base damage, and the Swiss Pikemen obviously have those multipliers there. Aren't relevant at the moment. They're trying to get up close with the Reuters, but that's not going to happen. They're just bleeding out. Very expensive units versus the skirmishers. Hussars coming around the side, able to get on top of the skirmishers. Reuters trying to get into position to do damage against the cavalry here. We do see the Reuters. They're trying to come up, stop the Hussars. I've lost my train of thought, but I was going too quick.
Yeah, but Reuters jamming right into the enemy Reuters is going to be making it really hard to focus down the Hussars or the Swiss pikemen, and just he's crushing this fight. And once this army's dead, if Nushabar doesn't have enough units to enough Reuters left to force the army away, he's not going to be able to gather any resources for pretty much the rest of this game. And it looks like the Hussars are going to be neglecting the Reuter fight and just going to be running straight towards the villagers. And this could be the end of the game for Nushabar here.
That's a lot. They're heading straight towards that outpost.
There is an outpost up, so there is still a chance that Nushabar could potentially hold this. He does have a larger mass of Reuters, so he might actually be able to defend this, might be able to continue fighting in this game.
Yeah.
But Tabin is definitely in a commanding position. All of his villagers are able to easily gather. He's continuously training units. Whereas Nushabar, he's just holed up at this outpost.
He recognizes
really struggling to defend this.
This is the location to fight. Tabin sent all his units here. He's like, screw that fight in your base. I'm going right to these villas in this tower, and he's sieging that down right now. The village is about to pop out. Green forcing to be on the map over here. He has to fight now because there's so many villages. They're so vulnerable. Even if this is not a fight he really wants to be taking, because he just doesn't have the units for it. If those Halbs though can get into position and do some damage, but Tabin being quite diligent is focusing them down. One Halb left isn't gonna make. Is now dead and getting up close with those Reuters. It's just Blue has the military lead here, just more units, and those villagers trying to desperately get out of here. But look at the unit population up there, 61 vills to 41, and Tabin in a lead on military here. This looks like a very nicely played game. That early pressure from him, and then that interesting fortress play with the Hussars coming out. But I think this might be where Nushabar Tabin's out.
I see what you did there. Yeah, cleaning up all the villagers, going to be cleaning up the rest of this army, and I think, that's going to be GG for Nushabar here. And I am honestly really impressed. I thought that Tabin was at a huge disadvantage in early Fortress, and he played around that disadvantage really, really well, and had some really, really good adaptations. And did he not train a single batch of skirmishers this entire game? I think he just only trained cavalry the whole game, which is not something we normally see either. So this is a pretty exciting game, I think, and I'm really impressed with Tabin's ability to adapt to the situation and pull out the win.
Yeah, that was an absolutely amazing game. I was very, very pleased with that. That was really cool. I like the early age up. There was some interesting stuff going on in the beginning, and then with that fortress, it was just like the whole thing felt so I'm trying to find a word. What I want to describe is just like the units were moving around, like it was a game of chess almost. There was all this positioning going on, people moving around the map, making sure in the right on all the right spots. It felt like the action was moving around consistently, and it wasn't just a stale sitting around game. It was quite exciting. There was no succinct way to explain that though, but that was very, very fun, making the score now 2-1. So this series not over. This is a best of 5, first to 3 points, so potentially a couple more games here, and it might well be. Nushabar, a strong opponent for Tabin, but here, Tabin on match point. Let's head on out and see if he can take this game and take this series.
Yeah, wow, and Nushabar is like the number 2 seed in this tournament too. He did get second place in the playoffs of the Grand Tour earlier this year. So he's not an opponent you can just, walk all over, but it seems like Tabin is walking all over him. I'm excited to see what happens in this next game here.
They're both currently on Dutch. Tabin has to pick first, as he did win that previous game, as you just mentioned. But neither of these players have got a tournament finish past the round of 16, I believe.
Aside from Nushalbar winning
with the second place
in the playoffs of the Grand Tour, yeah. But aside from that, in the ordinary tournament format, no, he's not gotten any better than a round of 16, I believe. Tabin, I believe, hasn't actually even played any previous tournaments, so this is his first time entering.
Yeah,
and he's doing really well. This is I would say that this series, if he wins, would be an upset, and he's already pulled off one upset already.
I would love to see him go through. No disrespect to Nushalbar, but seeing a brand new face on the block just demolished, and it just goes straight up into the semi-finals. I'll be rooting for him. That'd be fucking awesome. Pardon me. I should. We want to get partnered, so better. Actually, that doesn't matter on Twitch, I think. Anyway, who knows? But yes, Tabin, the Swedish rising star or dark horse rising star. I don't know. One of those two words. Yeah, they're words we like to throw out when we're casting. The next map is High Plains. Let's see what their picks are.
I was just going to say that it's really nice to see him winning these games too, as he has a very, I don't know if I can call it an anti-meta playstyle, but he doesn't really go for sort of the standard sort of playstyle that we see a lot of people going for. I haven't really ever seen him go Skirm Goon a lot of the time or stuff like that. He's very aggressive and really likes those unit compositions that are a bit more unorthodox or require a lot more aggression and stuff like that. So it's a lot of fun to watch him play as well.
Yeah, just taking a little bit of a break here by the looks of it, which gives us the opportunity to read out some donations. I don't know why they're not working. I've set it up exactly the way it should be, and it's maybe if I delete the browser source and add it back in again, that will work. But $2 coming in from Lecassetti. So thank you very much. His message is Nerf Hazard. I presume that was from the previous game. Also, Queen of Destiny, $2. And you said Warno AoE was 25, right? Or have we covered that?
Yes, that's correct. I think I mentioned that at the end of the first game, I think, or maybe the end of the second game, something like that.
Dark Star. That's a good combo. Rising Star, Dark Horse, Dark Star. Or perhaps Rising Horse. That doesn't quite work as well, does it?
Yes.
I feel like neither of them really work. You're not going to intuitively figure out what either are. But yeah, I mean, I could see. It's a cool name, though. Dark Star.
What about Black Star?
Oh no. Tabin's the new Black Star.
Tabin, new Black Star confirmed. Oh, baby. What a series. I'm feeling it. I'm ready for
pretty fun.
Yeah, I'm ready for some awesome Age of Empires 3.
So Tabin does have to pick first. All civs are available again. I wonder what he'll play on High Plains. There is 5 trading posts available. I don't know if Tabin plays any civs that really make use of 5 trading posts super easily, but Nushalbar definitely could. I know he plays Portuguese and stuff like that. I'm going to go on a whim and say we're going to see France from Tabin.
Yeah, that is a civ he likes. Tabin also a big fan of Germany. There it is.
Oh, you win. All right.
And that's not a bad choice on High Plains. France also good. These are traditionally very powerful civs on TP maps. In fact, Germany especially powerful on TP maps. Germany locked. Nushalbar up next to decide. We'll see what he goes with. He's already played so far. Game number 1. That was on the map Manchuria. We saw China versus France, didn't we? Tabin lost that game. No, that was Tibet,
yes.
Sorry. China versus...
Tibet, yes.
Yes. So Tabin didn't pick France because he's already played France.
Well, France is still available. There was a reset.
Oh, yes,
We played 3 games, so all civs are available, which means Nushalbar could play Euro, maybe if he wanted to, or China. Or Dutch. He could play either of those civs again. Okay. I'm honestly not too sure what he will play into Germany. I've seen him play a lot of Brit. I've seen him play a lot of Euro, a lot of India, a lot of Dutch. I know that he plays most civs though, so he could potentially pick any other civ on this map. Okay, Portuguese.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going into game number 3 now. Or is it game number 4? Yes, game number 4. The score is 2-1 to Tabin. The matchup will be German versus Portuguese. Spawning on the bottom left-hand side of the map, we do have, in the colour green, Nushalbar. He has 1 point in this series so far. He needs to win this game to stay in this series. He'll bring that up to 2-2. Here he is, playing as Portuguese. with 1 less crate, but an extra villager. 2 food. Let's see what he has. Going straight out onto the map. Going to ignore that 30 coin there. In the back, he does have 30 food and 30 coin. Just going to ignore those. Heading straight on out. And it pays off right away. Sunflower's worth 130 food. Was that nerfed? Looks like it has been.
It was nerfed.
Interesting. Yeah. That's funny. We can nerf treasures. Huh. Fair enough. I suppose it's not that hard to get in the age of kiting. I guess when it was made, people, I don't know. You do have to crack shot the Guardian.
Perhaps. It might be a little bit better if it was wolves instead of coyotes guarding it, but easy to pick up either way.
Yeah, still a very powerful treasure.
Gonna be pretty good for him, especially if he chooses to go for ATP or anything like that. If he manages to age a little bit earlier as a result of that food, he will be able to place those trading posts earlier and a little bit more safely without fear of those 2 Ulans coming out early in Colonial and maybe denying some of those trading posts.
Yeah. Scouts have found each other. 95
wood for Tabin is pretty good.
Yeah, that's a pretty good treasure. See what he does with that. But hunting dogs now in for Nushalbar. He's got his market up. But his opponent, Tabin, up an extra point. So psychologically speaking, this could be, you're always a bit nervous when your opponent's up 1. And I'm always nervous going into a match versus Germany. I really, really am afraid of Germany. I just feel like they are such a power sieve in that sort of early Fortress Age time. And I just feel like it's really hard to deal with. And the games always inevitably go there for me. We'll see how this goes.
They definitely do have a pretty overwhelming mass early in the game. They're a little bit weaker, though, on ESOC patch. Ulans have slightly less HP, so they might not be quite as overbearing in the early stages of Colonial and early Fortress.
Yeah. We'll see how this goes.
But yeah, definitely still a strong civ with a lot of really strong timings. And we'll have to see how Port chooses to deal with that, because Germany will still be able to apply a lot of pressure, maybe force TCs down into really awkward locations, or at least the 3rd TC from the Fortress Age up. And yeah, do we have a shipment? It is Advanced Trading Post coming out for Nushalbar, so we will be seeing this long 5 TP line coming into play.
Going for that 60 XP coming out from Taben. Do you think he'll obviously want to get on the map? He'll be building a trading post, but if he scouts the ATP or expects that it's coming, will he build more than 1? I often find that, especially this works perhaps on a map with fewer trading posts. If your opponent goes for the advanced trading posts, it's just to build trading posts so that they cannot have them. Is that something you'll see? Certainly 1, I expect. Do you think we'll see more from the German?
One for sure. 2 is possible, I guess. It maybe depends a little bit on what he wants to do. If you chop too much wood in transition to Colonial, that does kind of make it difficult to get out full batches of Ulans in Colonial, if that is something you want to do. So he could drop another TP. He could also wait until Colonial, drop a TP, and then drop a second TP on 400 wood or 700 wood or something like that.
Yeah. A couple of villagers coming out. He's taking... Oh no, that's a native scout. Where's this guy going, though? Is he going straight to the one down the end? He's got the scout there. He knows that his opponent isn't on that one.
Looks like he is. And yeah, villager going to be helping grab some of these trading posts. Native scouts just making sure that the explorer isn't anywhere nearby.
Yeah.
Making sure he can grab that TP safely. And yeah.
Some good herding.
Nushalbar is... I wonder if he'll grab all 4 TPs before aging. I don't think you can. No, he definitely can't. He's almost up, so he'll be getting that 4th TP probably off of 400 wood, along with that stagecoach upgrade. I would imagine will come in pretty soon as well. 500 food age up actually for Nushalbar, so he could actually be going for a very quick fast fortress with maybe 700 coin coming out next. Is he? I don't know if he's got stagecoach in queue.
No, I don't know if we can see that necessarily. I've got the units in queue open though.
I don't think we can see that, unfortunately. But he might have stagecoach in queue. I didn't see exactly how much wood he chopped. But once he does get up to Fortress, it's going to be very easy to defend these trading posts from any units that Taben might have in early Colonial, like doubles or Ulans. And there we go, 700 coin does come out, so he will be aging.
Yeah, Blue was trying to get a second trading post. I saw him going for the one here, but the villager was building it, and then he came here, and as he approached the Green Explorer, I heard the destruction noise, so he had the foundation down. So Blue being denied that second trading post there, so was actually trying to get a second one down, being unsuccessful. What do you say, 700 coins. So is going to be aging up. To the Fortress Age. Looks like Nushalbar behind this massive trading post line, and presumably he's getting the upgrade in. We'll have a reasonable economy going straight to the Fortress Age. Germany does have his 2 Ulans out. They are going to be able to take down this Explorer, but not before all of the trading posts are up. They're now heading out to find that villager, I expect.
Yeah, I don't think that I don't think he has the upgrade coming in just yet. Colonial Militia actually coming out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't think he has the upgrade coming in just yet, just because I'm not sure that he was able to chop enough wood with that 500 food shipment and to drop that 4th TP. So he probably will wait until he is either safely in Fortress or maybe until he sends 700 wood or something like that. But yeah, Colonial Militia is a very, very weird card to send right now when there's
nothing, there's no pressure here immediately, right? So it just feels a bit like a waste. It's not really doing anything. It's not producing any value currently. There is no units in his base. However, there are a few Ulan on the outskirts here, so it might start coming in and being effective. He can garrison some villages and do reasonable damage against them. Of course, he's got access to those extra Colonial Militia later on in the game. We'll see if that's relevant. But in the meantime, Tabin just using these 2 Ulan from that first shipment of his to run around and get some of those nice juicy treasures on the map. Here now coming in, those 2 joining up with the 5 and able to try and find some villagers and kill them off. However, is just bleeding out, taking damage from these 2 town centres, which are, actually this is the one that's ungarrisoned here, which do have that really effective damage because of the upgrade that was sent. But perhaps Tabin realising that, not wanting to stick around, so instead going to go after these trading posts. They do have a lot of HP and can do damage themselves, but perhaps that is better than just sitting in the base taking extraordinary damage from the Colonial Militia. Here, just not letting him use that card at all and just killing trading posts instead.
Yeah, definitely not going to be able to sit under the town centers for very long at all. I don't think he would have been able to do that anyway without the ATP then. That's why I'm kind of questioning the decision. Basically, he does get a lot of shipments out of these trading posts, especially since he does not have the Stagecoach upgrade yet. That's an interesting TP. Maybe just going to grab some extra food. Actually, you know what? I wonder if he sent CM already, and if he's looking to grab that native TP for those Bison because he's intending to go to the Industrial Age or something of that nature.
That sounds interesting. Tabin tried something like that earlier. We'll see. Tabin did, but that's not relevant because Nushalbar's doing it anyway.
Yeah, so I guess that's going to give him a lot of really safe resources. He could drop his 3rd town center inside his base as well to make sure that those Bison are pretty safe. And, Tabin's just going to be wasting a lot of time, taking a lot of damage, sieging these ATP trading posts. Not going to be able to raid very effectively against 3 town centers and CM. And, yeah, so 3rd TC is going to go down inside the base, and it looks like he is saving up food to age. 1,000 coin might be on the way, so yeah, it looks like he is actually going to be going up to Industrial.
Let's take a look at that deck then, see what's available here. El Mete! I love it. And obviously what you'd expect. 2 heavy cannons, a couple of factories, and Genitors going to be adding that insane line of sight, although not as much as the RE patch, and extra damage. No, it isn't damage. It is literally just line of sight and range, which is pretty good still for Dragoons. So some powerful shipments in there. And this looks like a fairly geared deck for a fast industrial. We've got a fort in there. That would have bought some time had the game gone a bit differently. And a couple of upgrades as well for later on if we have that massive economy. Something like that maybe.
Yeah, so 1,000 coin does come in. An artillery foundry up for a Tabin, which is going to be used to knock down some of those trading posts and town centers, maybe. No racks yet for Tabin though, so not gonna have an answer to Dragoons really. But I wonder if he's not even gonna have the time or resources to get enough units to really punish this age up. It looks like.
I wonder though. He sent the he sent that Colonial Militia. Maybe it was just to discourage him from being in the base at all. And off the back of it, is just able to go straight up to the industrial age uncontested, and Tabin doesn't even want to be there. He's just like, nope, not going to even deal with that. Looks like a few war wagons coming out. Oh, petards in Q, Maito. That's what he's building at the artillery foundry.
Oh, interesting. Okay, so the petards are going to make for pretty good timing against this. I wonder if he's sort of caught on to Nushabar's plan. Perhaps he saw the CM, also saw the native post, and realized that Nushabar is not planning on leaving his base anytime soon. Perhaps he's going up to industrial. Maybe he looked at the deck as well. Ooh, fort coming up as well. Yeah, I'm not sure exactly what you go for here if you're walking into the base with these petards. Do you go for a town center? Do you go for the fort? Do you go for the stable?
Do you make a lucky guess on which one's aging and try and kill it with the petards?
Oh, yeah. Maybe you do.
I think maybe you just kill the fort because you can do ×4 damage with the petards.
Yeah, but it looks like only... Okay, petards do manage to get that down. Yeah, I guess he couldn't really afford to walk in too far if the town centers did focus fire those petards with the additional damage from Colonial Militia. It probably wouldn't have been super effective.
Yeah.
But he's getting a lot of vital time down right now. Did kill the fort. That's 1,000 resources worth of value that he's just denied. And he might even be able to pick up the town center wagon when it pops in a moment.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, he expects the age up. There it is. Nicely done there, straight into the foundation.
They're going to buy some time.
Yeah.
But I think he's going to just ignore the Miniman and maybe siege down the foundation of that TC, so that's probably going to go down pretty quickly.
Yeah, and that seems like the absolutely correct thing to do. I like the decision to kill the fort as well. It was in construction, so those petards going to do some extra damage and absolutely kill it off here. The war wagons now want to get out. He's come in, he's done the damage he needs to do. He killed a fort, which was pretty good. A couple of villagers went down. All this idle time, although he was bleeding out, taking damage from those upgraded town center damage, which wasn't ideal, but he kills the town center. That's the thing to take away. That's what he was aiming for, I expect, by being in the base at that moment. And now the game is in this funny state where Nushalbar is up to the industrial age and has access to these quite powerful shipments. We'll see if he can get those factories down and those incredibly powerful shipments, the Elmete, the cannons. So what do you do here as Tabin? Your opponent's got basically the whole trading route and is in the industrial age.
Well, it looks like Tabin's answer is to follow him up to the industrial age. He just clicked in to industrial himself. So he will be aging. I don't know exactly what cards he has available to him, but he might be looking to just chip factories and sort of contest the economy that way. One factory is out for Nushabar now as well. And interestingly enough, Nushabar also grabbed the Comanche settlement on top of his Cheyenne settlement, which is going to give him, I believe, an extra 10% cavalry hit points. So going to have some really strong dragoons moving forward in this game. And yeah, I guess...
by the way...
Yes?
Yeah, Tabin actually has had, I noticed earlier, he's got steel traps, amalgamation. He's had that pretty much all game long. And only just now, if we take a look at the green villages, is he getting that steel traps in. He's got placer mines, but if we take a look at the recalculated, green is ahead on villages. I don't know how long. He has had those 3 town centers up for a while. But the blue player has got really strong upgrades. That is worth pointing out, I think. He's not been neglecting that. Looks like Tabin is going to have trouble claiming some more trading posts on this route because it's being rebuilt. Nushalbar got full control here, so follow him up to the next stage. That's what he's doing. He's about to age up. Let's see what politician he selected. I imagine 1,000 gold. There it is. Definitely the most efficient shipment. And what does Nushalbar have in this age as well? Let's take a look at his deck. Not as prepared, though does have the 2 heavy cannons and factories, which are the essentials. But aside from that, just some powerful Fortress Age, but they're not going to be quite as good. So I wonder if Nushalbar is actually in quite a good spot. Economically speaking, though, fairly even, maybe. I don't know. There's a lot of trading posts here, and he has the potential for Stagecoach. So actually, I feel like the Portuguese position, I'm preferring that at the moment. 3 town centers, a whole route, and a better deck.
Definitely looks pretty strong. Both of his factories are already up. He'll probably be grabbing Stagecoach pretty soon as well. Tabin also building more petards, which is a little bit of an interesting decision, considering that he's just reached industrial. He might not have as strong of a timing as he would have if he stayed fortress and continued training petards. He is shipping a factory as well, so I'm not entirely sure what he wants to use those petards for. He might just keep them hidden for now and try to sneak them into the back and snipe a factory or something at a later point in the game.
That seems likely. I feel like that's the best use. Because if you're going to be killing, the trading posts, or you want to deal damage to the town centers or something like that, then surely mortars are the better unit to train. Petards actually aren't that cost effective. The only thing they're good at doing is surprise damage. And I think that's exactly what he wants to use them for versus those factories. Perhaps that's how you secure the long game. You manage to get in there with the petards nice and early, take out a factory, and then going forward, you can secure yourself a nice advantage over time relative to your opponent.
2 heavy cannons coming in for Tabin now, so that might be go time for him with these petards as well. Maybe he'll just try to brute force down the base with all the siege he has. Geniteur is coming out for Nushabar as well, so those Dragoons are going to have quite a bit of range on them. They might pick off a heavy cannon here. No, not going to even get a one shot off.
Yeah,
so.
Where are these goons going? They're looking perhaps for those cannons. I'd like to point out that Tabin has just researched mass production, so artillery at the factories are going to be produced very quickly. That seems to be, and they're configured to you know what I'm trying to say. He wants to make heavy cannons, and that could be... he seems to be a fan of that. What do you feel? How do you feel about making heavy artillery as opposed to just getting resources in the standard way? But firstly, let's take a look at this fight. Lots of Dragoons here trying to take out the petards. Minutemen being called. That's a nice advantage of having sent that card earlier. The petards are no longer a surprise, though. Almost taken out a second one. It survives with 11 HP. Is quite weak. These Ulans going down to the Dragoons, which are now Jeanette, and as you mentioned earlier, ranged... Well, I don't know if he's getting the Comanche upgrade, but he certainly can. He's got the ranged cavalry Carasol, though, from the artillery foundry. These are very powerful Dragoons.
Yeah, Minutemen are going to buy a little bit of time, but Tabin's still going to be pushing in, it looks like. And I guess one advantage of training heavy cannons from the factories instead of using resources is that you do get, you do just get a lot of really powerful siege units that they aren't easy to kill, even with Jeanettes. Jeanettes have a lot of range and a lot of damage, but the heavy cannons are extremely tanky. So if he gets a few more heavy cannons out here, he could potentially just sit outside of Nushabar's base and just like hammer away at those town centers and all the other buildings. It could be pretty difficult for Nushabar to deal with. 2 heavy cannons coming out from Nushabar of his own. And I guess one other thing it'll do is he'll be able to win the heavy cannon war. I wonder if he'll add a culverin in as well just to secure that.
Yeah, that could be interesting. These villagers, though, under threat. Thankfully, though, does have his units nearby, the veteran war wagons coming in. And that's interesting. They're still veteran. Against Jeanettes, this is not great. He's not got that research in queue either. And he's not got any other upgrades on them. So...
Yeah, hasn't been able to afford that upgrade quite yet. Doesn't really have any wood.
What does Mustangs do? Let's
it looks like there's units getting onto the cannons, maybe.
Oh, you want me
Mustangs? That's the 10% HP treasure, I believe, or treasure. That's 10% HP upgrade for the Comanche, I believe.
Yeah. Wow, he's really going hard on these Jeanettes. They're going to be very, very powerful. A couple of cannons in base, and as you said, an extra one might help him win that war. No culverins in sight just yet, but look, just bleeding out these war wagons, disappearing quickly. The Jeanettes doing very, very powerful work. We do have the heavy cannons setting up, but those 2 heavy cannons versus 3. Yes, there is more cannons, but these Jeanettes should be able to make that advantage even.
Yeah, and these cannons are going to be forced to back off or risk dying to the Jeanettes, potentially. There's only 3 war wagons left.
Here we
this
go.
is part of the problem.
Bang.
Good volley. Jeanette's getting in on the heavy cannons now. And this is part of the problem with going mass war wagon against mass Jeanette, is you're making a really inferior Dragoon unit against a really superior Dragoon unit. Jeanettes are kind of like the premier Dragoon unit. That's going to be GG for Tabin. And just like war wagons, they're really immobile compared to Jeanettes. They don't have ranged resistance. They have less range once you get actually they have the same range once upgrades get in. But yeah, they're not equipped to combat other Dragoons for sure. And as a result, he just kept getting his war wagons picked off left and right, and those heavy cannons not going to be able to get anything done once the war wagons are down.
Yeah, and the petards not really doing anything. They ended up just being used as just to soak up damage in the end. So, unfortunate, just a well-prepared build from Nushulbar, goes straight to the Industrial Age, has the deck available, gets the trading route nice and early, sends the Colonial Militia, which looked questionable, but it did what it needed to do. It stopped Tabin from going into his base, and it just left Nushulbar uncontested to do whatever he wants. Went straight up to Industrial Age. He dictated how this game was going to go. He said, right, let's play an industrial game, and Tabin had to follow him up, had to do that kind of thing, and just ended up doing something he wasn't prepared to do, playing a game in a really weird age, which he wasn't used to, not getting to use those powerful timings that Germany has, and resulting just in a loss here. The score is now 2-2. So, everybody, we do get our final deciding match. This will be exciting. I wonder if Tabin can make a final game. So, Trading Post map is out the way. The next and final map will be Kamchatka, which is actually a tournament favourite, I think. This is one of the first maps that was made. I remember casting some very interesting early tournaments. I think it's a good map to finish on. I'm looking forward to this next match, Maito.
Yeah, returning to the roots of the ESSC tournaments, I think the first tournament we did, Kamchatka was the first map for every single series.
Yeah, that's right.
There were no vetoes, so you saw that map all the time. And it's appeared in other tournaments, but hasn't been as prevalent. And I'm excited to start seeing it more as we move into the best of sevens in the next rounds too, and the final game of this game. It should be interesting.
I'd like to see a version of Kamchatka that only spawns the summer version. I'm not a huge fan of the winter version, although Gaia tells me every time that's his preferred one. I just like the water, the fact that it does create those chokes.
Points.
Yeah, but it doesn't really do that on the winter version, which is peculiar.
Yeah, I think I actually prefer the summer version as well. Yeah, there's not a super huge difference in how you play it on either one. Just the summer version, you have a lot more freedom in how you choose to play, I guess, because you can wall off those choke points and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But anyway, moving into the game here.
We are absolutely, ladies and gentlemen. This is the match point, the deciding game for this series. The score is currently 2-2. I would like to remind you all that this tournament is brought to you by ESO-community.net. This is game number 5, the deciding match between Tabin and Nushulbar. The winner of this will progress through to the semi-finals. Both players would like the opportunity to go into a semi-final, perhaps a quarter-final, maybe even a grand final. Neither of these players have gotten there before. Nushulbar did win the Grand Tour, but he's yet to receive a solid victory in a standard format tournament like this, one of the big cash prize events that we do from time to time. I'd like to point out that we are a little bit short on money this one around. It always picks up in the final, so don't worry. But if you would like to chip in a buck or two, that would be very kind. These are all user-funded. The prize pools come from our generous donors, so I'd like to remind everybody about that. Thank you very much to anyone that has donated so far, and hopefully the alerts will work because they weren't earlier, but they should be now. But yes, a little bit of conflict immediately. Looks like, though, Tabin is able to pick those goats up right away, but no one wasting any time. Straight to this middle portion of the map where traditionally two of the bigger treasures are. Doesn't look like they are here. I swear there was always bigger treasures in the middle. Has that been changed? Just these small...
There was a little bit of changes. Sometimes they do spawn in the middle, but usually they spawn sort of along in the middle of the map, so they can spawn sort of on the top side of the middle or the bottom side of the middle, as well as in the very middle of the map. So this time we get a couple of small ones in the middle, but I'm sure there are still big treasures on the map elsewhere.
Yeah, 85 wood down there, and we've got a family of monkeys, caged and destined for points unknown. That is a bit of a mouthful. And perhaps not the best treasure, but certainly there are treasures on this map here. But India, off to a good start. He's got 5 goats. His opponent, none. So Tabin going to be pretty pleased with that. It's quite nice to find that on this TP map. However... Oh, he does have 1 goat, but Nushulbar off to the starting on this 85 wood treasure, so may not have the goats, but this is, in the early game, a very, very powerful treasure to get. However, Tabin is close. He's got his elephant in position. He's going to get right up close to the treasure. Is Nushulbar going to just let the Guardians reset, or is he going to continue knowing that Tabin might go in for that treasure here? He's spotted it. Yeah, he walked straight. I wonder if he's even noticed. Thankfully, though, the elephant has no ranged attack, and it doesn't have a crack shot either, so this is still fairly safe, right?
Yeah, he knows that there's no way that Tabin can kill the Guardian or anything, so he knows that even if he takes the time to kill that Guardian, he has time to walk up to the treasure. he can even force this elephant into combat, and like that elephant can't even attack him because he's standing next to the guardian. If he gets like a stomp off or something like that,
Oh, that's
the guardian
interesting.
will aggro him as well.
Oh, that's really, really clever. That is very clever. And I like how he reset that guardian. He finished killing the one he'd invested time in. $2 from Cassetti AoE. Go, 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 tap and show dominance, son, he says. Thank you very much for the $2 there. The donation ticket is working, so that's good. What the hell's going on here? Is he just waiting for... He knows that perhaps green will... Oh, he's going in for it anyway. Wait, was that a stomp? Is the tiger now... Oh, he's bringing the other elephant
No,
in.
he just stunned the tiger and decided to go for it. So
I did think there was a lot of waiting around. Maybe he thought Nushalbar would get fed up with waiting and he was going to use the... he does look like he's going to get that treasure after all. Would use his crack shot and he was just waiting for that correct moment. I bet their screens were paying a lot of attention. That's a highly contested treasure here. But does go to Nushalbar. Seems fair to me because Tabin does have the GOAT advantage. So there we go. That is the case here. What has happened? The story of this game so far then. Looks like we have the aggressive Wonder Agra Fort coming down on the front here. One villager going to be building that in the middle of the map, securing 2 herds and a mine. And another mine that is also in the diamond shape in the middle of the map there. Also, the central trading post. That is a thing that it also secures. Going to be going for 35 food nearby. But Nushalbar herding these away. Perhaps he just wanted to do something with that villager whilst it's there. He certainly isn't going to be building a military building right next to the Wonder, but it did happen to find itself there because he probably
I think he was just checking for the Wonder with that villager, and now that the villager's there, he can drop a wall in the choke point there. Looks like, I'm not sure if the monk blocked it. Looked like it did not block it, but is going to take it down anyway. So he is going to get a little bit of vision on any units that try to walk through that choke point at least. Not going to deter them too much though if he does not manage to complete the wall. Looks like he's not going to bother with the monk blocking it. And yeah, we'll have to see how Nushalbar chooses to hold this. We saw this matchup earlier today with Hazza versus Prince of Kabul. Hazza struggled to deal with the Indian army, and we'll have to see if Nushalbar plays it any differently and struggles just as much. But Outpost coming down, going to be deterring any early pressure.
Virginia Company coming in. Oh, that explains all the wood that's been stacked. Sorry, I was paying so much attention to that early treasure and then to the Agra Fort and that villager that we neglected to notice the fact that he'd stockpiled quite a number of wood here. Nushalbar now slamming it all down. Virginia Company has arrived, and that's going to decrease the cost of his manors. Tons going down left, right, and centre. So already playing this quite differently to the way it was earlier, as you mentioned. Looks like Nushalbar also picking himself up some monkeys, which is also going to help considerably with this with any early pressure that may be coming. And it looks like he's building a manor house mid-map. This is going to supply some line of sight, which is going to be very nice as well. So could be quite different. This map is not as open as the map we saw previously this matchup.
Yeah, and this is an interesting decision to go for Virginia Company. I don't believe he's dropped a military building just yet, but he's going for this really boomy play style, while Tabin could potentially be applying a lot of pressure. He's got Sepoys on the field, potentially Sepoys in queue and coming with a shipment or something like that. He does know that there's Sepoys sitting right there because of the Manor LOS and the Wall LOS. But yeah, Rax is only just now coming up. I guess it's going to be pretty hard, though, for those units to get into the base with all the hunts positioned in the back here and the outpost and market and stuff blocking out front. So looks like Tabin's actually not interested in going for any super early aggression anyway. Going to be sending the early wood trickle.
Oh, wow. What happened to that Sepoy's HP? Was that just the Explorer? Good lord.
That was just the Explorer, yeah.
Damn, that's a lot of... that's quite a good amount of damage to get done early on. I feel like Nushalbar's playing very, very well, doing all of the right things here. Those Freitag monkeys going to be quite effective. He's even was chasing around this other Freitag monkey earlier with one of his and managing to get some good shots on half of a Sepoy, which now can go down to some town centre fire. Good hunt in his base. We'll see how long that lasts, though. And a trading post for British as well. I suppose if you're gathering all that wood early on, it's not too too bad. But then again, isn't if you've got the Virginia Company, surely that's more effective to build. Either way, though, can he say no? Villager does go down. Doesn't have great coats. Looks like, though, he's going to get that Explorer into hand combat here. A few Longbowmen. Can he get them up to do some damage? Freitag joining the fray in the wrong place, though. Minutemen were called, but looks like Blue is going to get away. And actually, the Minutemen not going to be all that effective. But pressure repelled, and British sits in his base, and all he lost was a villager, which is a shame, but he's probably completely okay with his position. 600 wood comes down. Gonna build a ton of manors, especially with Virginia Company.
Yeah, I think that was a pretty good.
Oh baby, $15 coming in from Songhai Duck, and he gives the donger. Can we get some dongers in the chat? Tabin requires energy. Give energy to Tabin. We shouldn't be rooting for Tabin as the casters, but I'd really like to see a new face on the block. Equally, though, Nushalbar very, very strong. Sorry, go ahead.
What was I going to say? Oh yeah, I feel like that trade was actually pretty good for Tabin still.
Okay.
Gets a villager for the cost of 2 sepoys, as well as forcing the Minutemen pop, which is not going to be available later if he chooses to go for any sort of timing or anything like that. I wonder if Tabin... Does he have any units in queue? I'm not sure. He just shipped 600 coin. He is stacking a lot of food. I wonder if he's actually going for... No! Wait, actually, you know what? He might be saving up for the Tiger Claw shipment. He's got a lot of villagers on gold. He doesn't have a whole lot of vills, or a whole lot of food to, like, look at aging or anything like that. So he could be potentially sending Tiger Claws and going for a push pretty soon. But... I could be wrong. We will see.
Great coats now coming down for Nushalbar.
No, looks like he is just going to be aging up. So I was wrong.
Eddie Holland donates $1. So much wood being chopped this game. I love it.
I need wood.
Yes, both civs that love to chop wood. Thank you for the donation, Eddie Holland. All right, Taj Mahal coming down for Tabin. So he's going to be going for actually a similar build to the one he did on Manchuria, where he just aged the Taj Mahal, made a lot of sepoy and a lot of really tanky units like the Mahouts and the Urmi and stuff like that. And we'll be using that ceasefire ability to get onto the longbows, probably.
Yeah, that seems to be... so, what happened with that Tiger Claw stuff? Was that not what he was going for after all? Oh, he did get the age up down. Okay, so that's where he was going with this. Do you think he sent those 5 sepoy in, called the Minutemen out, managed to kill a villager, he was happy with that? Or do you think, oh, I'm not going to get any more pressure done? He thought, I'm just going to go up to the Fortress Age and thought that was enough and be done with that early game stuff. Either way, though, looks like both players are going up to the next stage. And Britain, look at this. Look at the number of vills here. He's got absolutely tons. Thing is, though, he's not actually that far ahead of the India player. And Greece consumed all of his resources. The hunts are running out low. He really needs to be getting out on that map to be gathering more. We'll see how he does that. But both players going up to the Industrial Age. That is what is happening right now.
You mean the Fortress Age? I think you just said Industrial, right?
Did I? Yes, I meant Fortress. That would be a game, wouldn't it? Industrial Age a game.
Minutemen coming in, getting it picked off. Their villagers not going to get any meaningful damage in, but they are going to get some scouting done. They do see that the consulate is not currently allied, so he will probably be anticipating a British consulate coming through.
Yeah. No flag.
Unfortunately, not noticing the wonder or anything like that, but still getting some information, I suppose.
Artillery foundry going down for Nushalbar.
Ooh, and that's gonna be pretty good for him actually, as long as Tabin continues with the same sort of plan he did in the other game. Just because India has a really hard time dealing with artillery, especially if they don't have siege elephants, and I have an inkling that siege elephants are not going to be what Tabin goes for immediately in this game. So we'll have to see to confirm, but they could potentially... A lot of cannons potentially be very dangerous.
Here we go.
Oh. Oh. Oh.
Wow, okay. Straight to the Industrial Age. Tabin needs to get some medicine paid back, does he? He wants to do the same thing as last time. We saw him try and do some industrial shenanigans earlier on Tibet when he was playing as the French... I think it was the French...
It was.
Yeah.
A lot of fast industrials this series.
Yeah, this has been one hell of a series. This is quite fun. I'm enjoying this. So we'll see if Nushelbar will notice if this is the case. If he doesn't notice soon, he's going to have to make something. He's going to have to make something happen now to cause some pressure so that Tabin can't get away with this uncontested. Looks like that is exactly what's going to happen, though. This gate here going to let these cannons through. A random goat coming home. But yes, the Falconet's going to set up on this Agra fort. And Nushelbar is going to be met uncontested. No units here. All of the units are at home. We see the disciplined sepoy have gone away. And this will probably mean Nushelbar thinks, okay, there's no units here. This is unusual. He must be aging. So he's going to get some information from this. But before he goes to his opponent's base, this is easy picking. Just take out the Agra fort, be done with that, and keep. Okay, 10 longbowmen coming out, 10 more musks as well. So really piling on the lots of units here. This is exactly what he needs, and he's doing it. He's going straight for his opponent. This could prove to be quite effective. However, his opponent has just gotten up. What has Tabin got available? Lots of tiger claws, and of course those powerful Urumi shipments as well as the Mahouts.
Yeah, unfortunately, I did not see how much population went down on his shipment just now. But if I had to guess, he's probably sending Urumi.
So Ulrich donates $1. That is unusual. Yeah, Wicked Cossack dishing money out. Holy shit! I'm in shock. Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you, Wicked Cossack, for dipping into your savings. I'm sure it was
his bike
I'm sure
savings.
it was difficult to find the will.
Yeah.
But anyway,
he found it in his heart.
Falconets are on the town center. Ceasefire does come out. He's looking to try and get a flank here, but he really just doesn't have enough units here. If there's an Urumi shipment popping from the TC, maybe this will work. There we go. Urumi are coming out.
Here we go.
Gotta get onto the
this
army
is so
in the last
dirty.
few seconds where this comes. Even villagers coming. Oh no, the villagers not going to come into the fight. Just keeping on at the gold mine. Minutemen coming out as well. So those cannons are going to be going down, and this is going to be a close fight. Hussar coming in from the back, going to be trying to get onto those Urumi. It's actually
9 musketeers coming.
I'm honestly not sure.
You're not certain, are you? There are still a lot of Urumi here.
This is definitely going well for Tabin.
Yeah, this is totally India favoured. Look at that. That cannon's like, nope. He's getting on out of there. Noped out of that one. Yeah, Tabin. Okay, the veteran musketeers coming in a little bit too late there, just at the end of the fight. That is unfortunate for him. So, but just being cleaned up by these Urumi and lots of infantry, lots of sepoy that do have that the veteran equivalent upgrade. So that was, yeah, Tabin in a good spot now.
Yeah, that's a very, very painful loss to take as Nushelbar at this state in the game. Like, all of his resources have run out in his base. He's just moved all of his villagers to other parts of the map. So they're currently undefended. But it looks like he's going to be applying some musket raids just to keep Tabin inside his base and prevent him from applying pressure to those resources. But what do you? I don't know what you do at this point in the game against India in Age 4. One of the ways, one of the things you really want to deny India from ever doing if they get too industrially, just getting up a big massive Urumi. And unfortunately, he's already lost a huge army. He didn't even kill half the Urumi shipment, and there's going to be another Urumi shipment on the way shortly. And once that is in, I don't know if he's going to have enough units to really kite these
Urumi
units.
swordsmen. There they are, you're right. They're stacking up. Although he does have a big Musk army and 3 more falconets coming down. He had that artillery foundry, remember. So this could be, if he goes over to these villages, it could even up some of this. There's quite a number of vills just sitting there. Blue quite far away from that location. However, he is marching towards his opponent. We see some green cavalry as well. So Nushelbar is doing all the things he should be doing, even though he did lose all of those units. Blue being forced off here, and now Blue having to redirect fire. Urumi, though, oh no, this is just sentries and 1 HP units here, so are going to re-raiding with them. They're not all that effective at anything else, perhaps, so they're going to be over there. Quickly takes down this house. Let's take a look at the Hussar raid here. The Sepoy on the case, coming in, forcing the cav away. They're going to be, I think he's a little bit idle. This might not be good for Nushelbar. He doesn't want to be fighting really here. On the other hand, the Urumi across the map, a few more musketeers joining. This is where the
there's
units are converging. Villagers coming in as well for this.
Army to run.
Yeah.
These Valks are gonna have to do a lot of work to win this fight. But it looks like Tabin's actually not too keen to take it. Maybe he's a little bit afraid of the Valks. Wants to wait for another Urumi shipment to really hit that critical mass of Urumi. But
yeah, that seems fair.
Dushabar is doing all the right things to really stay in this game, just directing all of Tabin's attention towards his base and away from his own villagers.
The Mansabai Urumi as well.
With the Mansabdar.
Holy. Mansabai Urumi. Yeah, I think you were right about waiting. Maybe he could have taken that fight and maybe he could have won it, but there's no need to take that risk, right? You can win it more decisively when the next shipment arrives. You're in the industrial age. Look, he's got 2 shipments stacked up. This is a case of just sending shipments, getting the mass going, and then you can really punish. There was no need to take that risk here. Though, having said that, we do see Musketeer/Grenadier combat coming in. So, Green is getting stronger, although still in the Fortress Age. It looks like we also still only see disciplined units. It's going to be quite tough to get that wood cost up here. We might have a bit of a confrontation. I like the fact that Green is putting down these walls. He just needs to delay this as long as possible so he can get caught up. Remember, he's got a superior economy. Actually, having said that, maybe he doesn't. Here we go, though. The cannons getting into position. Lots of Urumi coming in. Was that a wasted volley?
Oh no! It looked like maybe the volley didn't quite go through.
Yeah,
but Urumi getting onto the muskets there, just melting through them. The cannons are not going to do enough damage to take care of the Urumi, and that's going to be another lost fight for the British player. It looks like, unfortunately, not going to make full use of that gateway that he could have maybe used to shield cannons from those Urumi.
That could have been effective.
And, now that the artillery has fallen, the musketeers are going to be making their way back to the base, and unfortunately, caught by the Urumi here and the rest of the Sepoy.
This is not looking pretty, is it? Just bleeding out here, trying to get back, trying to kite back into his base, get closer to his barracks, and that doesn't have any Minutemen, remember, either. These are Urumi, although he's doing a good job of getting them, like, they're not able to get right on top of the units here. Couple more cannons.
More falconets coming out.
Yeah.
This might be enough to hold.
It might be. We will see.
Going to be focusing down the Falcons with the Sepoy. One Falcon does go down. It looks like he is barely
he's able to bring it back, but more Urumi coming in. We just saw a new shipment arrive. So for the time being,
Tiger Claws are in, looks like, and probably raiding on the left side of the map somewhere.
Ah,
yes,
that's a lot of Dragon Claws. They're coming in. Yeah, they're going to be looking for these gold villages, I imagine. But for the time being, is able to clean up at home. Musketeer, Grenadier combat coming in. So very powerful Musketeers, able to match those Sepoy, even though he is in the Industrial Age. You know, he hasn't got that guard upgrade. Here come the Tiger Claws, very powerful unit here. They've actually got good multipliers versus these. Actually, no, they don't. They've got terrible multipliers versus the Musketeers. But either way, there's still quite a lot of them here. Is this a good decision? Should he be waiting for the swordsman? The Urumi are on their way. Yeah, he's going to try and get out of here now, but not before he's lost quite a number of units. Tabin in a good spot, but Nushalbar doing a very good job of holding on. I'm quite impressed with what he's been able to accomplish despite such a commanding lead from Tabin, doing all the right things to stay in this game.
Yeah, he's still alive. You know, he's bleeding out, but he's still alive. There's still hope that the British Empire could pull this game back, but it's looking pretty grim with another Urumi shipment hitting the floor, totaling a total of 18 Yumi and almost 20 Tiger Claws. And, you know, British has already started transitioning to mills and stuff like that. There are a couple more Falcons out, but those Falcons are not going to kill 18 Urumi very quickly.
No, I don't think they are. That's unfortunate. But he's going to push forward nonetheless. That villager trying to build a wall. He's just trying to keep them out, trying to, you know, just have as much time as he can. But even economically, the small lead he's managed to get. Why is he pushing forward into these Urumi? I would try and run away from them, surely. Where is he going anyway? What is Blue waiting for?
I think he's really scared of allowing the mass to continue growing. Like, imagine if there's another Urumi shipment, how do you ever kill that when you don't even have access to resources on the map?
Oh, that's true. Okay,
you're already gathering on mills and stuff like that. Like I'm sure that he's feeling the pressure. Like he's an age down. Urumi are insane. The more you have them,
that's cool.
Okay, that's that's gonna at least deter units from using that pathway to pressure his base. But
it's a bit it's a bit funny. How does a cannon shoot through a wall? I'm not sure, but yes, look at the resources there, and it looks like Tabin's aware of this as well. Tiger Claws. They're going to be contested by some hussars, though. The villagers still going to have to get away. Looks like the musketeers are going to head on over there. Leave the cannons. They're perhaps defended adequately in their little safety pen. But this is the last pocket of resources available on the map. So really, really running out. And here's a few more Urumi swordsmen just arriving. Here we go. This looks like it might be go time.
This is going to be the push. The baby falconets being taken care of in that pen, not gonna be contested in any way. He's just gonna push.
He's gonna go somewhere else.
Yeah.
It's like no, I'm fighting there.
So he does restrict the movement through there, but how much does that really matter? He has to idle all of these villagers now. He's gonna walk all the way back home. This army could just walk all the way around the back door here. One villager gonna go down. Poor woman.
Yeah, where are these gonna go?
Work. Yeah, what are they going to do? They're going to have to go home. They're going to have to start chopping wood. They're going to have to start constructing
mills. It's just going to be a bit disgusting, really, isn't it? He has got seed drill in, though, so the mills aren't as useless. Looks like this wall is just going to go down just in time. Is able to delay, create a bit more time, although the economic unit population is very, very similar. But as we said, he's on mills, so actually I'd say Blue is in the lead, especially since he's got an extra town centre up. 3 hussars, though, are going to come into this location and do a bit of damage. One of them's half HP, but either way, shouldn't be much of a difficulty for these tons of villagers to deal with. Back in the meantime, has forced his way through the wall. It didn't hold for very long. The musketeers trying to get back. There's just so many Urumi here, pushing these villas that were already pushed off before, being pushed off again. They can't gather wood to get that mill up, and even if they can, it's not going to be long before this big ball of death appears on top of the mills and stops food gathering altogether. Firstly, though, he does have to get through these awkwardly paced manors, but that shouldn't be difficult, especially since there's no army stopping them. Villagers coming off the mill, and I'm not even certain there'll be enough room in that town centre for all of these villagers. A couple going to get caught here and go down. Here comes Green trying to get into position, taking the cannons out of their playpen, and Blue is not playing around now, though. Here he comes. This is the final death wave coming in. Actually, the Urumi out of position. This could be a good opportunity for neutral. Ceasefire explains a lot. Okay.
Oh no, the ceasefire.
Just trying to get on top of these.
Allow him to just get right on top of that army.
Yeah,
it's not gonna. He can't run forever.
Yeah, this is the Urumi exactly where they want to be, and those cannons now just completely surrounded by units. 1 second remaining. This is not ideal, and this is especially now that we see Honoured Sepoy. This is where the fight will truly come to a close, and I think, ladies and gentlemen, Tabin gonna be picking up a victory, moving into the semi-finals. It's coming home, lads. GL next round.
Quarterfinals, sorry, but yeah.
Have I been saying it wrong the whole time? Whoopsie. But either way, a very, very well-played series. A very interesting series. I'm absolutely so pleased I was able to cast this one. What a phenomenal set of games. That Dutch mirror earlier was absolutely fabulous. This last game was really, really nice. And we've seen lots of industrial play as well. But Tabin forcing the victory in this final spot there. Really nice game to see.
Yeah, very, very well played from Tabin for sure. Throughout the whole series, he was kind of on top of things the entire time. The only sort of game that he kind of made questionable decisions was maybe the decision to go to industrial with France the one game, but he still kind of almost pulled it out or almost stabilized in that game. So yeah, he definitely played well all around, and I'm impressed, and I hope that we continue to see him playing just as well in his future games as he did in this one.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how far he can go in this tournament. Who will his next opponent be, do you think? What are the brackets looking like?
Let me take a look at the bracket. So he's moving into the round of 8 against Kinesi. He will be playing.
Oh, baby. All right, then.
So those will be some conflicting playstyles. We have the King of Turtle against the new King of Aggression, maybe. So I'm sure there will be lots of walls, lots of hard rushing of walls. So it'll be interesting for sure.
It will. I'm looking forward to it. All right, then. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. One last reminder, this tournament is brought to you by ESO-community.net. And all of our tournaments are funded by user donations. So thank you to everyone that's donated so far. We're getting closer. We should make it. The grand finals is always one hell of a time for donations. But yes, do tune in next time. I am off this weekend. I will be casting this weekend. Hopefully with Maito. You down?
I should be around.
Sick. All right then. Thank you very much for watching, everybody. My name has been Interjection, casting alongside Mr. Toe.
And we will be seeing you more this weekend.
Yes, we will. All right then. Thank you very much, and goodbye.
Adios.